Hello.
Sir.
That's on. Now people should be able to hear it. Yeah. Yes.
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Okay. So that means you couldn't hear us earlier, right?
Earlier it was mute, completely silent.
Oh, sure. I think we have figured this out. Thank you very much for joining. Krishna, you don't have to say anything, right? Nothing. Great. So I still hope this is streaming on YouTube, guys. So let me start by sharing my screen right away. Don't read my mails. Okay. So hello and welcome everyone to this webinar. So this is kind of a mixed event. I can see that there are quite a few people online, so which is a good thing. I think I saw more than 20 people online. So plus we have some 8-10 people in this room. So welcome. This is the first webinar. So this year we are. So I think many of you guys have heard of the MDes research program that we started from 2024, so last year. And for the 2025 intake, we are kind of going to do the webinar slightly differently. Each topic we are planning to do a different webinar. So this is the first of that series, basically. Okay. And this is like a 3-hour session. So I don't know how long this is going to take. And I'll talk a little bit more about it. But right. So I have given this talk in various names and various titles. So although I have not given this talk for a while now, maybe for the last 6 months, maybe 1 year or something like that. And have given smaller versions of this talk previously. So 3-hour talk I won't ever given before this. So let's see how this goes. So earlier it was called cracking the puzzle of text input in Indian languages or story of Swara Chakra and so on. Okay, but maybe it should be, I thought we'll kind of quickly go through the room and find out who's here and why are they here. So I'm going to start with you.
So I'm Shubhankar from BS2.
BS2, okay?
And I'm Shaurya. I'm from BS2.
Yeah.
Yeah, hi sir. I'm Sumit Balan. I'm from DTU, fourth year student.
DTU. Okay, Krishna. Maybe you can just introduce your written to everybody, huh?
I'm Pooja, an MDes by research student. I'm actually pursuing.
So if somebody's computer is playing a sound, so you should just have getting the. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, please.
I'm Shan. I did my MDes. I'm working in Haswell.
Right.
I'm Swapnil. Even I also did MDes last year.
Okay. Good. Okay. Maybe we can go to people online. So Rangit. I'm just going. It is Rangit, Rupesh, Praveen, Kumar, and Vijayan. Please introduce yourselves.
Hi, myself Rupesh. I'm a PhD student at IDC, working on text input methods.
Okay, thank you. Rangit.
Hi, my name is Praveen Kumar Gupta. I'm alumni of SCA course I did under sir. So good to be part.
Okay, thank you. Vijayan.
Yeah, hi. My name is Vijayanan. I am doing PhD in IDC under the supervision of AJ sir, and currently I also work in TCS research, and my area of research in usable security.
Thank you. The next four people are Acacia, Srijita, Sri, and Diptanshu. So Acacia, you can't. Maybe Srijita.
Hello, my name is Srijita. I am currently pursuing Bachelor's of Design in ISDI.
Okay, lovely. Sri. No. Diptanshu.
Hello, sir. I'm Diptangshu, and I'm currently working as a research assistant under the Chemical Engineering department at IIT Bombay.
Lovely. Okay, no problem. Acacia says mic isn't set up. I finished my bachelor's in visual arts from World University of something it went. Okay, Pranshu, Arpit, Aditi, and Anadi.
Hi, my name is Fanshu. I just recently graduated from Triple IT Bangalore in my master's in Human Centered Design.
Okay, lovely. Arpit.
Hello, I am Arpit from BDes second year at IDC.
Okay, lovely. Aditi.
Hello, I'm an engineer and I'm currently a UI designer at Geo. So it's a pleasure to be here.
Okay, very nice. Anadi.
Hello everybody, I am Anadi Bhagat. I am a master's graduate from NID and I am currently working on Kuduk language and its text input mediums. Thank you.
Thank you. So then we have Sajal, Raj, Pallavi, and Swarna. So Sajal.
Hello everyone, I'm from BDes 4 in IIT Guwahati and happy to join you all.
Lovely, nice to have you. Raj.
Hello everyone, I am from Rajasthan and I am currently working as a research fellow at Pune and currently I am a psychology student in Jain University.
Okay, thank you. Pallavi.
Hello everyone, I'm Pallavi. I recently graduated and done my master's from IDC in communication design. Currently, I'm working remotely as a visual and experience designer for a Germany-based e-commerce platform.
Okay, thank you. Swarna.
Hello everyone, I'm Swarna. I did my BDes in leather goods and accessory design from FDDI Kolkata, and I'm interested in pursuing research as my career, so I'm here.
Lovely, nice to have you. And then we have next, we have Amrita, Riddhi, Pranav, and Samir. Amrita?
Yeah, hi everyone, I'm Amrita. Right now I'm doing my MDes at NID, and I previously worked at IDC with Tejas sir on text input studies. And yeah, nice to meet you all.
Riddhi?
Hi everyone, I'm Riddhi and I'm currently pursuing my bachelor's from NIFT in Communication Design.
Very nice. Pranav? Okay.
I think I have put something in chat.
You put something in chat, which I missed. Okay, I think everybody can see that. So, Samir, please go ahead.
Hey sir, so I've completed a Bachelor's of Design degree from Symbiosis Pune, and currently I'm working as a user experience designer with Nagaro Software.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have Ankit, Shashank, Somesh, and Pranjal. So, Ankit?
Hi, sir. I have graduated uh, in BFA from Banaras Hindu University and currently pursuing Master of Fine Arts from Mahatma Gandhi Kashi Vidyapit. And I am a 3D character artist. And I want to pursue my career in PhD from IDC. So I am here. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Shashank? Sorry, mic issues. Scoring voice interfaces using LLMs. Everyone, very nice. Okay, Somesh? Somesh isn't able to talk also. Pranjal?
Hello, sir. This is Pranjal. I'm connecting from Jodhpur. I'm currently working as assistant professor in the Department of Design, IIT Jodhpur. I teach interaction design and usability engineering over here. Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you. We have then Uday, Supriya, and Suresh. So, Uday? I can't speak. Okay. Supriya? And someone else some name that I lost. Okay, anybody else who has not introduced themselves? Can please go ahead. Okay, so there are lots of messages in emails in the chat. So thank you very much. Yeah, hi Acacia and Visual Arts, Pranav, Shashank. Okay, lovely. Thank you. I'm just going to close the chat on our screen here so that we can sort of go back. Okay. Somehow my screen's moved ahead. So, okay. So today I'm going to kind of give today's session is like slightly longish session, about 3 hours. I kind of broken it up into 4 parts. So part 1 is a little bit about Indian languages. I think we need to understand a little bit more about where we come from. I'll try to keep this brief because this is mainly background information that we need to understand before we can understand the issues with text input in Indian languages. Particularly, I'll try to bring a focus on what is unique about Indian languages. Part 2 is some of the early work that we did in IDC, early design efforts, early research into text input, the kind of studies that we did, our explorations with voice-based text input and also text input for the blind. So I kind of quickly give you some glimpses about, yes, the recording will be shared later, yes. So I'll just quickly give you some glimpses into the early work in IDC. Mostly this work is published and available in form of paper. Well, there's a lot of work out that we have done. Some of it is published, and even the one that is not published is available in the form of some reports and so on. So that's all available. Then I will actually talk a little bit more about the current work. So Rupesh is here, Pooja is here, and I hope Divyansh will join us eventually. And Abhiram is supposed to join us. He's not yet come, but hopefully he will come. And I have some work from Harshavardhan to show. So some people will come and show their recent work. So these guys are around or still doing their projects and so on. Then I'll switch to some recordings that I have from Harshavardhan. I'll go give you a demo of what Vedant did in terms of his tool. Some work on gamification. Technically speaking, this is a little old work, but I'm kind of including it in recent work because there might be opportunities again. And then I will talk a little bit about some work that we have recently done on phrase set research with Salon. Okay, and then we will have discussion. In fact, after each part, we can have short breaks and you can ask questions, so we can have discussions. These guys are supposed to get us some longer break thing, like if some food coming, right?
Yes,
It's already here, so we can have it whenever you want. Okay, guys, so that's the plan. I'm recording this on YouTube. Hopefully, it's still going. And the purpose is, yeah, it seems to be going. And the purpose is to have this available for people who might come across this later, because there's a lot of work that needs to be done in text input in Indian languages. Okay, so with that, I'll dive right in about Indian languages. So some of you probably have seen some of these talks and it might be repetitive, but for some of you it will be new. So I will leave out some people who are working on text input in Indian languages, okay, like Anadi and Rupesh, maybe Pooja, and ask this question to everyone else. So let us take any Indian script, like say they have like Hindi or Tamil or Kannada. Which writing system do you think it belongs to? These are the writing systems of the world. Which writing system does some of these languages belong to? There are few that don't fit here. I'm not talking about this. Like the bulk of Indian languages, most of Indian languages belong to which ones? Which writing system? So by the way, there are many classifications of writing systems also. So this particular one is from this Peter Daniels and his colleagues. There are other writing systems which have more categories, less categories, and so on. But maybe this is good enough for us now. Indian concept.
I saw in chat some Abugida would have.
Abugida, very nice. Whoever got that, if they are not a text input researcher and got that, that's really nice. Right, absolutely, it is Abugida. So what is Abugida and how does it compare with the other ones? Okay, so this is a sort of a textual way of describing it. So all the others, so many people mistakenly call the Indian scripts alphabets. It is wrong actually. Okay, so alphabet stands for all the Latin, Cyrillic, Greek, Armenian, Georgian. There are many alphabet scripts, but Indian scripts are not alphabets. Okay, so in fact, if you see worldwide, all this gray part is alphabets. Okay, so and like it's kind of more or less dominated the world. Okay, so then we have logographic, basically mainly Mandarin Chinese, but there are a few other. So some Japanese, I think Japan has 3 scripts. So I think some of them are also logographic. I'm not an expert in this area, by the way. Then there is syllabic, featural, which are different slightly from alphabets, but they kind of have some features of Abugidas also. But they're classified differently, at least in this system. And then there are abjads. So abjads are Arabic, Hebrew, our own Urdu, and so on. So these are scripts which are called abjads. And then the Abugidas are our scripts. Now, so again, so the worldwide. So mostly it is alphabets, a little bit of logographic on the east, a little bit of abjads on the west, okay, and then Abugidas. So who can tell me what is an Abugida then? Symbolic एक और है. Syllabic. Symbolic means what? Symbolic means what? Can you explain?
It takes word. There are symbols, and that's how I can figure it out right now. But yeah, something which it symbolizes something. I think I'm going wrong here, but that's how I can associate it.
Right. So in alphabets, for example, if you compare with alphabets, each character is a standalone character. So there are consonants and there are vowels, and you can say Y is a singing vowel or whatever. But that's essentially it, basically, right? And they stand and they don't change each other. We have a few what it was called when they join A and E join together. No. Accents is another thing. So there are variations of accents and so on. But like if you have double F, you get a different glyph basically. A and ligatures. Thank you very much. Yeah. So you get slightly different glyphs and so on. That is mainly to improve the typography and whatever. But if you put one F and the next F next to each other and don't do all of this stuff, it still can be read, okay, reasonably well, no problems, right? So ligatures, right? So there are no ligatures. In contrast to that, so Indian languages, I have some examples afterwards, so I forgot how or where the sequence was. So I'll come to explaining what we exactly mean by abiquitas and why is it therefore making it challenging for us. Okay, so but let us try to understand what is the problem as we view it. Okay, so this is a picture from IDC's auditorium. Somebody had made a very beautiful mural, put it up on the wall outside, and then because it was delicate, they wanted to put a sign next to it, a warning saying "Don't touch." So the English one is in Frutiger and the Devanagari one has been written by hand. So 4 words cannot be typed. ऐसे नहीं कि printer नहीं है, computer नहीं है, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. But we couldn't type 4 words to save a life, basically. Right. This is not only true about quickly handmade signs. It is true about posters. So just look at how it's visible on the screen here. So it is if you have Zoom like mine, then if you just move the Lagan is written in Hindi on the top right over here, and then my video was hiding that. But the Devanagari one, if you see, is like not much typography has been done, not much. Whereas this one, lots of expressiveness has come in over there, right? And then we are talking about professionally made posters targeting Hindi-speaking people. Okay, Hindi films targeting Hindi-speaking people, but the designer does not know how to type or play around with scripts in their own languages, right? So it's so difficult to read also for me. So anyway, so I mean these are okay. By the way, I have kind of just tried to update. I didn't have that much time to update all my slides, but I have. So this is a screenshot from Book My Show yesterday. Okay, so in Mumbai now, some 12 Hindi films are running, or at least these are the top 12 Hindi films running according to Book My Show in Mumbai, and 11 of them have their titles in English. Hindi films, no, I'm not talking about English films or whatever. And I can understand the first few of them, which are basically pan-India or like Mufasa is international, and other ones like Pushpa 2 and so on. Like there are Hindi, Tamil, Telugu, so redubbed in or multiple productions and so on. But some of them are whatever. The only one that is in Hindi looks like handmade. Huh? The Vanavas is actually looks like handmade. It doesn't look like a font to me. Whatever. So problem. Okay. This is one view of the problem. I mean, this was one view. This is a second view of the problem. I'm going to give you a third view of the problem. There are many other such views I could potentially sit and create. Again, this is a slightly old slide, about 7-8 years old slide, but problem. I have an updated screenshots additionally coming out. But I'll just explain. So this is a graph. This is a logarithmic graph. On the x-axis, we have the number of native speakers in the language in millions. Okay. So 10 million is a crore, 100 million is 10 crores, 1,000 million is 100 crores or a billion. Okay, so these are numbers, and almost no language is actually more than a billion, was and still now is above a billion speakers in the world. Okay, and this is the number of articles, Wikipedia articles in thousands. Okay, so 10,000, 100,000, and a million Wikipedia articles. Okay, and actually of interest is to look at which languages are on the top and which are not on the top. Okay, so if you see this group of languages, yeah, good number of native speakers. Okay, more than 100 million native speakers. Some cases slightly less, but still good number of native speakers and good number of Wikipedia pages. No problem. So what probably is interesting is to look at these languages. Okay, so Dutch, perhaps everybody knows. Swedish, everybody knows. Do you know the other 2 languages, Vari and Cebuano? Have you heard of them? Both of them are spoken in Philippines. One is Indonesia, one is Philippines. Okay, and I'll show you something else in a short while, and it will get clearer. And unfortunately, all the Indian languages are sort of down here. Okay, so right, and so I'll show you. In fact, this is now a nicer list on Wikipedia available. This is from yesterday, mommy. So This is actually listing the number of, the languages. So these are the multiple list of Wikipedias basically based on language, and these are sorted on the number of articles that are there in that language. Okay, in Wikipedia. So English with 6.9 million, almost 7 million articles. Cebuano, which you don't know where it was from, is 6.1 million articles. Okay, so from Philippines. German, French, Swedish, Dutch, Spanish. So can you find an Indian language in that list? Okay, not in the first 24. Now, how often does it happen that we don't have something Indian listed in the first 24? Okay. So yeah, there is no Indian language. And in fact, if you see the first 10, what is unique about the first 10? They are all alphabets. No, this Cebuano is not European at all. Okay, and neither is this Wari, so which writes in whatever. Okay, or this Vietnamese. I think Bhasha is there, 21st. Bhasha Indonesia. Okay, so all of these guys, I believe, sold their souls. All these languages sold their souls and switched to Roman at some stage in their history and lost their scripts. And we are on our way to do that in a few generations if we are not able to create the tools today for our future generation. I mean, for us and for future generation. Okay. So these are the first 24 languages. These are the next whatever, and we still don't see any Indian language in this. Not up to 51. Yeah, do you see? Mostly still we are dominant. I mean, if you saw here, okay, so the Egyptian Arabic, Chinese, Japanese, and Arabic, and Persian, and Korean are the languages which are non-alphabet based languages. Although Korean and to a large extent Japanese tend to be in their alphabet style scripts most of the times, the way they work basically. Although Mandarin, Chinese Mandarin is complex, there is no doubt about it. The thing with Chinese Mandarin is they introduced pinyin a long time ago. Pinyin, almost are now into the third generation of pinyin users. Like 60, 70 years ago, they introduced pinyin and they force everybody. So pinyin is just like QWERTY. It's like phonetic typing in order. And they forced everybody to learn. They made it very systematic. They forced everybody to learn. So everybody knows how to type in pinyin. Okay, it's available. It is available right from the days of feature phones or basic phones. Okay, so they did that. That's a very different approach that they use. Korean, the script was completely reformed 400 years ago. Okay, and they have a nice history, nice script. Very Korean and Japanese. I forget which one. It was a simpler one that we learn. When you go and learn, I did the Japanese course. I'm sorry to say, I don't remember much, but when you learn, they teach you how to do that, and they like ka, ka, ku. They'll show you. It sounds very familiar, and it's interesting. Okay, so can you see now? No, can you see now? So
Bangla is there.
Urdu 54. Urdu is the language with the most number of Wikipedia articles. Can you believe it? 54th number with 216,000. Your second is Tamil, 60th with 170,000. Hindi is 62nd with 163,000. Bangla is 63rd with 161,000. Right? And we also have Telugu, Marathi. I think that's it. Right? So we're not used to seeing these kind of numbers with India, right? So yeah, is it a problem? Okay, so why does it matter? So that's the second question. Okay, so that is the problem. Right? I mean, that's the problem that as designers we should solve. I mean, if we don't solve it, nobody. I mean, we have had technology to input in Indian languages for 50 years now, right? The problem is not that. The problem is something else, right? We have standardization for almost 25 years now. Unicode, more or less, people, in 2000, and you guys are too young, but in 2001, 2002, when all these newspapers in India, Indian language newspapers started their websites, they wanted to protect they didn't want too many people to read their news or something like that. I mean, they were protecting something or the other. So they were not in the standard font. So if you go to say Maharashtra Times or Mathrubhumi or Anand Bazar Patrika website in 2001, there will be a link, download something, so you have to download a font or you have to download some patch on the browser or something to just see the web page. Okay, so that was the situation that we had. And everybody wanted to protect that. Okay, and also that, of course, to be fair, that system was tied to their printing presses. And the technology that they use for printing, and they all use proprietary technologies. They don't use standard technology. They don't use your Illustrator, or they don't use your InDesign, or they don't use your standard, whatever, PageMaker, or Tabika Tubita. They didn't use any of that standard stuff, MS Word, nothing like that. They had their own proprietary technologies. So this was one more proprietary technology for them. Then they realized, what the hell, this doesn't show up in search engines. That is when they got forced to convert to Unicode, which is the standard used for whatever. And slowly, and actually, in fact, even now, they don't, as far as I know, most of them don't type natively in Unicode. They type in their proprietary technology and they push it through some conversion mechanism onto Unicode, even today. Okay, so, and we're talking about like 2025 now. Okay, so I hope more and more people are moving out of proprietary technologies and onto standard, and they might be, and actually a lot has changed in the last 10 years. A lot has changed because many more fonts are now available for Indian languages. IDC has a lot of contribution. Girish and his group have done a lot of contribution in that area. Many other people are doing the same thing. So we now have many more typefaces. They're all in Unicode. So then people are now getting pushed into Unicode a little bit more. But this is still, I think many newspapers still work like this. Okay. Now, why does it matter? And this side, I think graphic, everybody has seen, at least people who have attended my lectures in the past have seen in the past. Okay. So I'm showing here mobile phones and internet and so on as examples, but like that, what you see in millions is the population of India, the blue line or gray line at the top, and the red line is number of mobile phones. This is the number of landline phones. This is the number of internet users in India. This is the number of smartphones sold in India. Of course, smartphones don't last for a long time. So these are less than 5-year smartphones available in India. This is the number of graduates in India. So if you see, I have now recently, if you've seen my talk a little while ago, in June this year, I updated updated this information. So this comes from the Lok Sabha election poll estimates, because we still don't have the census data. Okay, so the 2001 and 2011 census data showed that we had 6.5% graduates in 2011 and about 4.4% in 2001. Now we have 16% graduates. Okay, and in pure numbers, we were some 9 crores or about 9 crores in 2011. Now we are about 24 crore graduates in just 12-13 years. Think about it. In the whole, like when we became independent, 80% of our population was illiterate, and we had very small, like less than 10 lakh graduates or something like that. Okay, so in the last 75 years, in the say I would say 1947 to 2011, must have been about 60 years odd. We could go to about 9 crores, and in the remaining 12, 13, 14 years, in the last 13, 14 years, we've gone to 24 crores. So people talk about rising unemployment among the educated these days, right? This we never talked about earlier. In the history of India, we never talked about it. As soon as you're educated, you are out of unemployment. But we are starting about, because just the number of graduates has just suddenly grown so much. I mean, the industry has grown, employment opportunities have grown, but education has grown faster. Never in the history, I mean, all the IT industry, Hamisha, they used to crib that we are not getting enough graduates, we are not getting enough skilled manpower. That somehow, miraculously in the last 12-13 years, we have managed to turn around and grow. So, which is the good news. So, the industry will take some time to catch up, and there is a limit actually. So, 16% graduates is a pretty good number for a developing country. When you start to get to 30% graduates, it actually starts becoming a problem. Okay. So, which is the problem that, say, for example, European countries are facing. They are around 30% graduates. And that is where then it stops being employment, employment opportunities, then you have to think through other mechanisms. Right? Right. Then HSC diploma, again, a similar upward swing, metric, middle school, primary school, and that is the literacy line. My current estimate is 10%. Again, this is the general estimate. We don't really know. We will know after census. Okay, so all these numbers are whatever. These dotted lines are, all of these are estimates anyway, but these big non-dotted lines are estimates from the poll. Okay. And then these other dotted lines are my own estimate based on just midpoints of that. So the evenly goes to 16%, 16%, 16%, etc. So it's not really, I'll give you slides, don't put it. I'll give you. Okay. Right. So that's the picture. Okay. Now one can look at this picture in many different ways. But today we are actually focusing on sort of this group of people. Okay. And so who is a non-English literate person in India? So they are literate, but not literate in English. How many people are there like that? Okay. Or for them, English, they may know English, but English is not a preferred language. Now it's very difficult to kind of say that iske baad everybody will prefer English actually. So if you see television, for example, if you see YouTube, you see so many other media, newspapers. I have newspaper slides coming up. Nobody prefers English. Okay, people do not prefer English, unlike what we might think in IDC. Okay, so people do not prefer to consume content in English. Okay, we probably know many people who are graduates who do not really know how to speak reasonably good English. Okay, cannot converse. Maybe they can read a little bit, but they cannot really hold a long conversation in English. They struggle. They'll immediately break into Hindi or whatever, or some other Indian language, basically. And that is perfectly fine. And only in India we actually don't allow it in some situations. It's terrible. Anyway, so some people will then bring it, say, okay, maybe we will include all graduates are sort of English literate and then everybody else above that. So that makes it about 60% of the country. Anybody between primary school to 12th standard is about 60% of the country, 70% of the country. Okay, estimated to be. That is what the population that we are talking about as far as text input. We also have work for other groups like barely literate and illiterate, but today we will not talk about that. Okay, so that's the problem. And this is a very quick thing. This is from 2014. This shows the reader. So there is this survey that used to happen in India called the Indian Readership Survey. It stopped during COVID because people stopped reading physical newspapers, and then they have not picked up since. Okay, now there are other ways of estimating. Google gives estimates and so on. But if you look at the survey that came, so this is 2014 survey. So 9%. This is among the top dailies in India. So it had 290 million readership, 29 crore readership. Okay, Indian language. Indian newspaper readership. Out of that, only 25 million were English newspapers. Okay, and all the other 265 million people were non-English. Hindi, of course, biggest, and then other things. This was 2014. I also have data for 2017, and English had actually, so it had gone from 25 million to 28 million, but still they had dropped in terms of market share. Okay, and this is 2019, just before the pandemic, English had dropped to 5%. Okay, so that is a sort of an interesting thing. But here, of course, we don't have the absolute numbers. But and in 2019, ke baad they didn't do. Okay, but I think we have established this point sufficiently that if you cannot type, if you cannot do text input, you cannot do so many things. Okay, and these are just reflections of that, right? I mean, we had 2 projects last semester. We have had so many projects on actually booking train tickets. Because to book a train ticket, you have to type at least 3 letters. Right? Think about it. All our train booking is still predominantly in English. You cannot do a train booking. You cannot save contacts if you don't know how to. You cannot make presentations. You cannot write documents. You cannot create posters or shop signs. Send a message. Shop online. You cannot search because you cannot search basically. And all shopping is based on search, more or less, right? We don't really have search-free interfaces, which would be a very interesting project topic to people for people to work on, right? Because think about it, we're talking about 70% of our population, right? I was mentioning the other day, I don't know if any, maybe you guys were not there. Viram was there, actually. No, you're not also there, sorry. We were talking about what is the transition that India is going through right now. Okay, so, and particularly as designers, so since there are a lot of designers online, I don't know how the job scenes are, but I'm hearing that the job scene in design community is kind of very bad this year. And the reason why it is very bad is because the Indian industry, I believe, is going through a transition. So designers predominantly westernized, English-speaking populations by and large. I mean, it was considered a premium service to have. And we are actually now going through a transition where everything needs to be designed. Everything needs to be designed. Except that the people who need to design, I mean, people who design in serving Indian population, creating products and services for Indian population, still think that design might be too premium for me to hire. So they are not hiring designers, right? So maybe we are in that stage. If you want if you just look around you, maybe you'll find at least 10 badly designed products, right? If you want the quality of their design to improve, those are the people who need to be able to hire designers. Then only the quality of design will improve.
I'm sorry, but what is the transition then?
So the transition is that we were going from a situation where we were serving mainly outside India. Who are the biggest employers? Google, Microsoft, Oracle, whatever, or even Infosys, TCS, blah blah blah.
So from there
we are now looking at how to serve Indian population, right? And in the ISD space that started, I would say 20 years ago. But in the broader design space, it has started, I would say, in the last 5 to 10 years.
So you're saying that this is causing problems with employment in India?
Correct, because so my best example of a small scale entrepreneur on the IIT Bombay campus, people from outside IIT Bombay, please bear with me. So for India XA conference, we hired some tables and chairs from a guy who provided these tables and chairs. Oh, I mean, very pathetic design, right? But he's our best, most reliable guy on campus who provides these things and whatever. 5 minutes mein leke aayega, jo bhi karega, all of those things, right? But his product is bad. Now, can he afford to hire an IDCR as a designer for him? That is what I mean. So when he thinks, his name is Tinku Decorators, okay, name of the supplier, I'm just plugging in. And name of the owner is Shailesh, name of the company is Tinku Decorators. He doesn't see the value of hiring a designer so far. But when he gets a competition who has actually hired and designed very nice products, and everybody says, uska acha hai, iska ganda product hai. That is when he will feel the pinch, and then he will start hiring the designer. Okay, so the design needs to become affordable, and it has to fit into this business now, which has not yet begun so much. It has begun in the web space, the YouTube space, and all of those spaces. It has not yet begun in these spaces so far, I feel. But that's a different topic, and I already gave that talk on Thursday. So, or whatever, talked about this on Thursday. So we are now talking about this. Okay, so that was part 1. Are there any questions about that? Then this is the scene. This is the Indian languages and what is unique about Indian languages and where this fits in Indian languages. We're talking about 70% of the population. And so in that sense, this is a big problem. Many languages, that's another big problem. Okay, so language research is generally a big issue. Okay. Any questions here? Okay, so maybe we can go to the second part of the talk, which is actually talking about some of the early work. So early design effort, some research work, and some other things. So now this part, actually many people, so our first project on text input in Indian languages was 2002. Okay, so over the last 23 years, now many people have contributed to this. Okay, so this is some of the early contributors. Okay, these are the major contributors. These are the moderate contributors, and there is an even longer list that I have of people who are, and this is a little, again, as I said, the slides are old, so I have not included all the names of some of the recent contributors. These are some of my older slides, okay? I mean, I don't think that all these people know each other or have met each other, and we can't take a group photograph basically. So, because they are all at different times and place over 23 years. Okay, so sorry if I miss meaning, I will miss many names. But this is our first ever sort of, this was a case study that we published in CLI 2004 actually. Okay, called Keylake, keyboard for text entry in Lick scripts. In fact, in the break, I'll go and get this keyboard. It still works. And I can connect it to a machine and we can type into Indian language. Okay. But that's when actually we asked this question. And remember, there were no smartphones. There were no even feature phones in 2002 when we started. They were all what were called as basic phones. Okay, so you couldn't do anything, like there were no apps. There were some few inbuilt apps like maybe alarm or whatever that they had hard coded on the phone. But there were no apps like camera, there was no camera on the phone, there was no radios on the phone, there was no. I have a phone like that, so I'll bring that. I think I have a phone like that. So I'll bring that kind of a phone and I'll show it around in the break. Okay. So QWERTY or not? That is the challenge. And so if you see QWERTY, a typical QWERTY keyboard, there's so many. There are 3 keyboards in the room and maybe more, 5, 6 keyboards in the room. And who knows how many keys are there on the keyboard? A typical QWERTY keyboard like this one. 50 tons. 100 something. Correct. It's correct. So they're between 100 to 110. That's varies, and most of the other ones are extra, like some volume key or whatever, right? So yeah, so 100. So most keyboards were advertised as 101 key keyboards. Okay, they had all these whatever. But you need only 26 of those characters on for typing in English. Okay. So that is the challenge. Now, if you compare this with the Indian standard, even today, on all the computers that we have, and also it's available on the phones, is Inscript keyboard. Okay. Inscript keyboard uses all these keys, and still they have to use Shift. Okay. And yeah, so this is a picture of an Inscript keyboard. So you can see how this is one of the, I mean, it's not easy to find, it's not common to find an Inscript keyboard with printed characters. Okay, so like I learned Inscript the hard way, and then I now know Inscript. I can type in Inscript, but if you ask me where is this, I will not be able to tell without typing basically. Okay, so there is a high entry barrier. Inscript takes about 30 to 50 hours of practice. The reason why none of us, how many people, I don't think anybody knows. Anybody knows Inscript? Other than me, yeah, nobody else. Okay. So, because we don't want to put in 30 to 50 hours of practice that it will take, right? I mean, we're not used, even QWERTY we learn, right? We need to put in 30 to 50 hours of practice or whatever. Most of there are typing classes which teach you QWERTY even. Okay. But, and some people go there, professional typists go there. And similarly, we have professional typists typing in Inscript. They're typing in these proprietary text input mechanisms for all these newspapers, and they have like some 18 different keyboards. ऐसे नहीं कि options नहीं है, we have 18 different keyboards, but all of them are mapped on top of QWERTY. Okay. One of the other premise that we started with, there is a very famous paper by Norman and Fisher, 1982, which talks about English alphabetical keyboard. In fact, there are 4 keyboards. If you guys have seriously read your design of everything, everybody claims that they have read their design of everyday things, but you have really not. These are pictures from design of everyday things. Okay, so if you read your design, it talks about it. So they compared 4 keyboards. Okay, so there was QWERTY, there was DROAC. This is a famous other keyboard. And then there was an alphabetical keyboard, which is like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and there is a random keyboard. Now I'm going to do a short experiment, very quick experiment. Okay, just first look at the alphabetical keyboard and try to type your own name. I'll give you a few seconds and you will understand what I'm saying. Okay, and now do the same thing with the random keyboard. Right? It takes about the same effort. There is no benefit of alphabetical keyboards. Okay, this is what their main finding was. Alphabetical keyboard has no particular benefit. Okay. So what Don Norman says in the design of everything is that people did not use the alphabetic algorithm. So like if you want to type, Swapnil SSS, so that you don't do PQRST, so you don't look for that group basically. You look for SSSSSSS, right? You know approximately maybe where it is with some practice. But therefore, people actually performed roughly equally. Okay, so I let me get the right data right over here. So only slight advantage for novices compared to a random keyboard. And was much worse for QWERTY keyboard and 7% worse for experts compared to QWERTY keyboard. So everything was getting compared with QWERTY keyboard because that is so common. And yeah.
But won't habit or force of habit play
But that will play with anything. So the claim with respect to the alphabetical layout was that this will help novices before you form the habit. Once you form the habit, in fact, QWERTY is not the best keyboard for habit. Once you have formed the habit, it's the drawback keyboard.
QWERTY is mostly because all the vowels are in a good space.
Yeah. But the drawback is actually spaced out even better. Okay, so it has some benefits. I have not listed here. It's there in that. And many studies have been done. But people don't want to, because now there's QWERTY, right? So there's a small improvement, but people don't care about that small improvement. Okay. So, but the point that I'm making over here is that people didn't like or people didn't use the alphabetical algorithm. The beginners, the novices did not use the alphabetical algorithm. But perhaps, now this is our own reflection, also because Roman alphabetic order is a random order. What do I mean by that? Roman alphabetic order is a random order. There is no structure to it. There is no. We just learned it, right? Maybe we had some musical rhymes to learn it and so on, but there was no. But let us understand. For example, Devanagari. I'm using Devanagari only as an example because it's a widely known example, and this is applicable to Brahmi. And Anandi can tell me whether it's applicable to Kuduk or not. Okay. So let us look at only the consonants. Okay. I want you to put your hand on your throat and say ka, kha, ga, gha, ga. People online don't feel shy. Do it. Nobody's looking. Yeah, you can feel the vibration inside your throats, right? So these are all guttural sounds. Okay. Palatals are when you so the the back of the tongue touches the palate, the top of the palate. Okay. Linguals, okay, we touch with the tip of the tongue to the top of the roof of the mouth, basically the linguals. Dentals, we touch it to the teeth. So when I tell my European friends that we have 4 T's and 4 D's, they can't pronounce any of them. But we are used to doing it from our childhood, so we can differentiate and we can listen for the differences and we can tell the differences, right? So this is actually where there is a lot of difference between Indian languages and European languages actually. And any switches that happen in the Indo-European family of languages happen in these spaces actually. Okay. And of course, labial, okay. So by the way, this is the mechanism of producing sound. It is independent of languages. Okay. So can you say the word people, which is an English word, people, without touching your lips? People. You can't. So this is about how we produce these sounds, but that is reflected in our script as a structure. And okay, so this is a simplified, and semi-vowels have a similar structure, vowels. So if you go to, this is from Wikipedia, they are actually also a vertical structure. Okay, so the plosives, the ghosha, and so on. And there is a similar structure in the vowels. In fact, there is a very nice YouTube video I would be happy to share it with you, which actually explains this much better and how things are related and so on, and how, which I forgot to put over here. But okay, so basically the point is that our scripts, including the Devanagari script, are very, very structured. Okay, and of course, does it mean that it has all possible pronunciations?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily. So can you give me an example of a pronunciation that is missing?
French roll dance, I think.
Clicks.
Sorry?
Clicks.
Clicks, yeah, clicks are missing, correct? Absolutely. African clicks are missing. French rolled R's. Same. And then depending on the number of R's that we have, so like if you go to Tamil, for example, double, triple, right? So this is just, I think, based on Hindi, but it misses all these other. And so, but let me actually take a simple word, cat. Yeah. How do you say cat? Now put on your best American accent and say cat. 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 It is not cat. It is not cat. It is not cat. It's in between them. So we can always find a spot between this and this, right? Okay. So it is possible to find that spot, right? So that in that sense, it is. We just take different points on that. If you think of it as a space, we just are picking some points on the space and giving them a name or a label or letter. That's what it becomes a letter, right? I mean, all the T's and all the D's come together, right? For European languages, basically. But in fact, they don't. The English T and the French T, te, is a te. And the English one is a T. So t से आता है वो त से आता है और हमको फर्क मालूम है. Okay, good. So the beautiful thing is, and actually, I don't know if this is true or not. Okay, I'll come to that in a minute. So all our languages are related. Or our scripts, sorry, I shouldn't say language. All our scripts are related. So if there is a K in Devanagari, there is a K in Bengali, there is a K in Devanagari, there is a K in Bengali. Okay. And so in multiple languages, right? So Malayalam, sorry. Tamil also has, so there are, so the K, K, G, G is the same. Anybody Tamil speaker? So K, K, G, G have the same character in Tamil. Okay, but they are actually interpreted differently while speaking, is what I understand basically.
Question with same as.
So the Katha and the Gada are written the same. Go and go there. Yeah. So how do they work? But they are not there in Unicode, for example. They are there in the.
Sorry,
Yeah.
the K and G are written similarly. You just pronounce them different based on where they come in the word.
Correct.
And there's no aspiration. So the K or G will not be used. They'll just not come in the word.
Correct. So they are there, but they are not in the written form. So they are in the script, they are not there. Basically. So then, in fact, these are all PDFs or whatever, screenshots from Unicodes of these scripts, basically. So, and in fact, they are all very similar to a. These are all called these are all supposed to have derived from the language called Brahmi. Brahmi. It comes from Brahmi, and they are actually so like Ashoka's edicts were in Brahmi, for example. So about 2,500 years ago, 2,300 years ago is when Ashoka's time. So and these were written in Brahmi, and now I can bring in this. This is not confirmed yet, or this is not accepted, let me say yet. But you might have heard of there are several controversies surrounding the Indus Valley civilization, right? The script of the Indus Valley civilization, or as also is called the Sindhu Saraswati civilization, as it is also sometimes called. So, and there is a very nice paper put out by a person, his name is Yajna Devam, who has put out a decipherment of, so there are about 300 decipherments of the Indus Valley script. But this claim is that it is based in Sanskrit and it is right to left. So it's not left to right, it's right to left language. It's based on Sanskrit, and the similarity with Brahmi is amazing, or the continuity with Brahmi. Just like in Brahmi, that I don't know if you can see the similarity between the K in Devanagari, in Bengali, in Malayalam, and in Tamil, and in Brahmi. Can you see the similarity? Yeah, but of course in K there is no such similarity. Okay, so it is like that. So that is. So that when we say similarity in scripts, that is what we are talking about, right? Because these are all handwritten forms, written on different mediums. Somebody is writing on stone, somebody is writing on metal, somebody is writing on a palm leaf, somebody is writing on paper. So scripts vary over thousands of years based on these variations, basically. Okay, but there is also a lot of similarity across these characters. Okay, so this is a picture of a prototype. This is still there, although this one doesn't work. This was our first prototype. So we said to hell with QWERTY basically, and we made our own keyboard. Okay, so this was in like 2003, I think, yeah. Then we said, okay, नहीं नहीं ये नहीं जम रहा है, थोड़ा कीबोर्ड जैसा दिखना चाहिए, बहुत बड़ा हो गया है, whatever. So this is the second version. This is also worked. अभी थोड़ा वो lose contact. Look at the prototype. So lose contact again. So still 2003. This was our fifth version, I believe, and then I have a sixth version also with me. Yeah, I think. I have a picture. Yeah, that is the sixth version that I have. It still works. That is the one that still works. So I can bring that in the break. So we did actually. So what we did was, we designed this. We iterated several times because unless we iterate, we will not know. Dummy model बना के कोई फायदा नहीं. We have to make the working model, then explore and try it out. Then we will know, right? When you looked at the alphabetic keyboard in English, you said, yeah, अच्छा idea. When you try to type your name, you realize that it's not really giving you any benefit whatsoever. So similarly here also. Okay. So what we did was, if you see, these are all prototypes, and this we hacked into a keyboard. We got a keyboard basically where there is no gap. This gap is not there. Okay, we bought 100 of those, and we अंदर से सब कचूमर निकाला उसका अपना electronics डाला. You just use the plastic parts of this keyboard. So that's why it has this weird shape actually. We made another dummy model for this is the intended design and so on, but we didn't. But for purpose of testing and prototyping, we used this one, right? And then we ran. So this was a fun project that we did. We took the keyboard and the computer. These days we can of course take it on a laptop. Those days we would have to take it on a heavy computer with a CRT monitors. You can see some of them here, right? These are all CRT monitors. We lugged them around on campus of IIT Bombay, went to student messes and in front of PC Saxena auditorium, and in the Infinity Corridor, we set up the computer. People came and typed. Okay, and we gave away on the spot pens. So you can see these people wearing these pens, right? So our t-shirts and so on. So it was like fun, ran on the spot competitions. And then we advertised a longer competition in that process. Okay, and then we set up 10 computers on the campus in different places. People came and practiced on those prototypes. And then we ran this as a competition towards the end, basically. And then so this was our CAI 2004 paper case study. Okay. So that was that. We got a CAI case study. We were happy. We went presented it. फिर आगे कुछ नहीं किया. Then a few years later, we met with these people from Nokia. So they said, "Oh, you did something in text input in Indian languages now." And this is when the slightly more powerful phones were becoming available. This is not a touchscreen phone. This is one of those slide out, N95 phone. And they said, "Okay, we are releasing this phone." This is before the phone was released in the market. They gave it to us, explore, and we could put a flash prototype in this. This is a flash prototype actually. So where we could type using a flash prototype, and we tried out different things and it worked and so on. So Anshuman Kumar and Himruchi Shah, this is like in 2008 basically, before iPhones, before smartphones, before anything became possible. Okay, so that was it. We did one thing, we ran a small study. I think we wrote up or didn't write up or whatever it is. Okay, and then I had a student his name is Aniket. He worked on a MDes P2 or MDes P3, I don't remember which, where he came up with 4 different ideas, and we prototyped 2 out of those. One of them, I have only a video left now. This is running on a touchscreen phone, but if you see, this is a stylus-based phone. This is before smartphones failed, and and the idea here was to club multiple keys on one key. Okay, because this, if you couldn't touch with fingers, okay, it was not very accurate, and it had to do this kind of whatever. So this was like early precursor into touchscreen phones and so on. Swarachakra was also created at the same time, okay, in the same project. So we came up with 5 ideas, I think. So 2 we could prototype out of those, like for real life situations. Okay, so then this is coming to Swarachakra. So how does Swarachakra work? So given the typing in Indian languages is hard, how to make a keyboard that is usable by every literate Indian? That has continued to be our motive, okay, for all our text input work. So there are 6 main challenges in text input in Indian languages. I'm kind of talking about the 4 even more important ones over here. So first is number of characters. Okay, so we just have more characters to input. These are the frequently used characters. Okay, so we have 12, 17 actually standalone vowels, but 12 frequently used ones, corresponding vowel modifiers, the halant key or the viram sign as it is called. Then about 33 frequently used consonants, more in some languages, in scripts, and so on. So that's the minimum that we need. And that is still much more than the 26 characters that we are requiring, right? So this is what we did for Swara Chakra. So if you see, I want you to look at the visual design of Swara Chakra. So the number, so you guys have probably done some courses on information theory, Gestalt laws, something like that, right? So this is applying that. Okay, now try to type your name. We have not yet come to that yet, but try to actually look at least a set of consonants. Yeah, so you can see that there are these little marks here. Yeah, these little lines. So chach come together, jaj come together. This is visual. Okay, and then there are these alternate bands. Plus, this group is one group. Plus, they are in Marathi. The word that we use for this is chirebandi. They are staggered, we can say in English, right? They are staggered, so they are displaced, so they actually minimize the interference with each other in some sense. We have a version which actually is not displaced also, but this one we found to be better. Okay, and then color plays a role in highlighting things and so on. So a lot of visual design. So number, what is the issue with number? We can use, we are designers, so we can figure out how to solve the problem of number by organizing it better. So it's a better organization, right? And we have different versions, right? This is just one of them. We have other versions. We have a horizontal work, like when you make the phone horizontal, we need a keyboard, right? So horizontal version also and so on. Okay, so work with Mandar on this particular thing, by the way. The visual adjustment of it. Okay, then the sequence. So the issue with sequence is there are sequences that people get wrong. For Devanagari, and for every language they are slightly different, but for Devanagari there are 2 which get wrong. So the Rasva E ki matra in Devanagari, should you type before the consonant or after? Krishna is not. Krishna, no? Puja. This guy. So nil. So nil. How do you type E ki matra?
First E then.
First E, then no. That is wrong. That is what we mean by sequence problem. Okay. Okay. Rafar. Anybody has a Rafar in their name?
Yes.
Kya naam hai?
Shaurya.
Shaurya. When do you type the Rafar? After the year or before?
I go with pronunciation, you go before.
Correct. But if you go with the standard rule that
Matra.
if you think of it as a matra, but Shaurya, the Rafar is not a matra. What is it? Consonant, right? So consonant is Ra Halanta here. So the Ra Halanta therefore needs to come before. So you made a simple rule actually, very simple rule. Speak as you type as you speak, not type as you write, type as you speak, and then all these problems of sequence. But even then, we minimize. So this is the issue. So this is for people who don't know Devanagari, so I'll skip that here. But this is essentially Abugida. I mean, this is what makes this script the Abugida basically, right?
Abugida, kahan se aaya?
Bugida is a African word because there is another Abugida script in Africa. Okay. So it comes from that. Word originates from that. Good question. Okay. You can also see comparison with Japanese characters, right? So that is the ku, and this is the ku. Okay. So ka, he. So they have a different character. So it's a different way of representing things. Okay. In Japanese. Okay. So I got these Japanese characters. At that time, I had not. This is like very old slides. Got them from a Japanese friend, Shigo Morishima. Right? And we have many. Okay. And so how do you do that? So you touch the consonant and it gives you a menu. So this is a classic 1980s ka idea basically. Go from a command line interface to a graphical user interface. Okay, so you create a menu. So then take away the sequence issue, na? It just takes it away. You don't worry about it. The system takes care of it, right? So that, and then conjunct. So now, unlike words, it is clumsy. The C and L kind of stay apart from each other, right? And they don't get together. The and L come together, and they are actually, those who don't know, are joined together by the what is called as the viram sign or the halanta sign. Okay, and depending on the combination, they look different.
So if I have to type Krishna, it's like K, Halanta R, R, and then each matra.
Right. Your word should be Krishna actually. It's a vowel. Kr. I can show you. It's a vowel sign. Okay. The Ruki Matra, Krishna. Ruki Matra, it's a vowel. So what is the difference between a consonant and a vowel? Who can tell me?
English vowels are like you don't need to like the mouth organ doesn't touch the roof or some there's no contact. If you say E, I, U, it's mostly lip movement.
Okay. Lip movement. No. Okay. No. No. But anyway, so what is the difference between a vowel and a consonant? Simple. He's almost there. He's almost there.
If
You can't join vowels. Like you won't join
like AE.
but
Yeah, somebody was saying something online. Sajad, please go ahead.
Yeah, so like if we go by the traditional Devanagari learnings, consonants cannot be pronounced by themselves. They need to be paired with a vowel to be pronounced.
Well, there is an inherent.
Vowels.
Vowel is considered inherent vowel. You're right. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, they can technically be pronounced, but so the main difference is that vowel you can hold. It doesn't have an end. You can hold. Ooh. I can hold the vowel. Okay. I cannot hold k. No, that's what you were saying. It goes. Now, when I'm saying ka, I'm actually saying with just a little bit of k before that. That's it. Okay, so simple, very easy to understand. Indian languages may koi problem nahi, and that's what also Sajal is saying, right? That we cannot. So the consonant gets produced in your wherever it may be produced. Okay, then there are other places and other ways, but then the vowel kind of completes that sound, and then there are these other. So that's the consonant and the vowel, right? Right. So and then now coming back to Krishna. So by the way, the reason why the R is interpreted as a re in North India and a ru in South India is because people couldn't do R. But R, I can hold. There is no re. That is like just E basically. Or ru is just U. But the R, I can hold. बराबर है? Okay. Okay, so that is a vowel. Okay, but coming back to conjunct, so then I think everybody knows this. So when you put the halant, it gives you a preview on the whole keyboard. And so again, it's the same principle. Basically, convert a command line thing into a whatever, and then you can further add a vowel modifier on top. So we developed this in several languages. I think people know this. So we have it in Hindi. They are not. I'll talk about that in a minute. Okay. Yeah, so it's almost complete keyboard, I would say. Then we have in Marathi and Bengali. So this is the other version. That's the other one. Older version, we say. This is 1.0, that is 2.0. And this is, I think, Gujarati, Malayalam, and Assamese. So we have different one for Assamese and Bengali, by the way, as you might notice. We have different one for Marathi and Hindi and Konkani. Okay, and we wanted to make one for Sanskrit, and we ran out of time. Whatever, we never got to make, but somebody wants to make for some. So this Konkani is different, Punjabi is different, Hindi, Tamil, if you see. So I have a big grouse. My biggest grouse. Anybody? So who was Tamil speaker? Abhirami, right?
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah, so if you go and see Tamil in script, okay, while one of the issues that we're dealing with is large number of keys, okay, Tamil in script has blank keys on the unshifted version. To me, that is sacrilege, basically. Why are you wasting unshifted key space? So they are doing it in script just to be consistent with earlier. I don't really like it, and one could have optimized. And we did that for Indian languages, for Answara Chakra. And then we have Kannada, Telugu, and Odia.
Konkani and Marathi both generally same, I guess.
So is Hindi, so is Sanskrit, but they're different languages. The reason why we did that, we discussed this, we could have said that it's a Devanagari keyboard or whatever. But we wanted to, if and when, we are still hopeful, if and when this becomes really very popular, these will be different communities. They might want to grow their keyboard in different, this is open source, publicly available. Anybody can use it, kind of a keyboard, basically. If and when, whatever. So if say Tamil or whatever, say Hindi speakers and Konkani speakers do not agree, they don't have to have the same design, they can have different design in future. That is why we kept them separated. Yeah, so initially we got a lot of downloads. Okay, so sometime in 2014, when we crossed 1 lakh downloads, we distributed pedas and all that. So then we started going very fast, and then Google launched Google Indic. Then they started squeezing us out, and now they have knocked out more than Google. If you're listening to YouTube, this is what you should hear. So they removed needless. I mean, we don't have even a website. I mean, we don't really. This is not a very well resourced. Like, it's not a company. It's like whatever, right? So I think they changed some terms or whatever, and you have to go and check some checkbox, but there's nobody there. So if you want somebody knows how to maintain software on Android Play Store, please just do that. Just revive some of these keyboards which have sort of died out now and people not getting. But on the other hand, if you just want to download it, visit my website, you'll find it on my website. Okay, so we did some in the early years then when we were doing some analysis. So there was a paper that we wrote on the corpus of what people are typing. And in fact, these corpus are available in public domain. Anybody wants can just write a mail to me or Manjiri and we will kind of share it with you. Okay. We also were seeing, between 2013 and 2015, we saw the active users, like how many words there was. So Swarachakra words typed per month. Okay, so went up from something like 20 to about 100 in about 2 years. So people who active users started using it much more, basically. This is like 2015. We worked on this till about 15, 16 and so on. It's still available to people, but it's not maintained and maybe there are some security patches and those kind of things. That aspect of it is not yet updated. And it's actually a pretty low-tech keyboard. It is not, the keyboards are very, very high-tech now, or have been all along ever since we figured out touch screens. And I can go differently into the technology of keyboards to the extent that I understand it. And these days, of course, it uses a lot more AI mechanisms and so on than what we have managed to use. Okay, so the strength of Swarachakra has always been its design. And by the way, Swarachakra is one of about 100 different mechanisms that we have designed so far in the lab with all these people who have worked on text input in Indian languages put together. Okay, but the last one was speed, and I'll kind of maybe speed and a couple of other points, and then I'll take a break. What's the time? 4:30 already. Okay, so one good thing or bad thing, I don't know. We didn't really get a lot of funding. We got funding to do a lot of other things, but we never really got funding to do text input work. In some ways, this is a good thing. Nobody's telling you what to do. But some of these things. So twice we got funding. First time when we developed that physical keyboard, we had some funding for a project from Media Labs Asia. Second time was when we were doing this virtual keyboard standardization project. So this is when we ran a very large study with 160 school children in 4 different locations. two in Mumbai and one in school near Nanded and one in a school in a village near Nanded. So you can see the different levels of schools basically. All government schools, government funded schools, all children coming from really, none of the students had ever used a smartphone before. This was in what, 2014 or 15, around that time. Okay, 13, 14, 15, sometime then, right? So we taught them how to do. So these children used to go and play, their hands were dirty, so they couldn't touch only. If you touch the screen, nothing would happen. So we figured out that then only you can. So in our part of our protocol was to carry soap with us and then take them to wash their hands, and then we could figure that out basically. Right. So we ran 4 different keyboards that were available. There was no Google Indic. We would have loved to use Google Indic at that time, but there was no Google Indic available. So this is pre-Google Indic. And so this is our mobile HCI 2016 paper. And Swaraj Chandra did better, but really not much better, which is because this is really a good study, very systematic, and the results are significant for those who understand quant. But we were not happy with the difference. I mean, the best keyboard was doing about 45 characters per minute, and the worst keyboard is doing about 35 characters per minute. It's not a huge difference. Just to give you a reference, most of you will type on your phones at about 150 characters per minute in English, not in Indian language, but in English. And if you really concentrate, you can go to 300 characters per minute without much. You use all the prediction, and all of that, or swipe, or any of these other mechanisms. You can go on your phone to 150 characters per minute, or about 60 words per minute pretty easily. On a physical keyboard, people can type between 30 words per minute. Well, if you're typing very casually, you can type at 20 words per minute, which is about 100 characters per minute. But 30, which is about 150, is okay. It's common. And professional typists start at 40, but can go up to 100 characters per minute, 100 words per minute. So that's like 500 characters per minute. Okay. And you can do that. So that's the reference. Right? So 45 is what we come. So that is what was disappointing. So that means this is not enough practice. So this represented about 300 minutes, about 5 hours of practice. Okay. For that. Starting it's young children, right? Because language can be difficulty and all of that stuff. But like these are about 5th, 6th, 7th standard children, basically. Right. Then this was followed up by a study by Sanjay Ghosh. He worked on, it's very difficult to find his photographs, by the way, but he worked on, his PhD was about this. So he kind of converted this into a model. So he did a study with noise typing. He did a study with what we call now as accelerated learning, or what he called at that time as experienced typing. And then he did a study where he just asked people to just tap on characters, not type, but tap. So he did a 2 target tapping, 3 target tapping, and 4 target tapping. And then on the basis of that, he tried to estimate how fast. So this is typing time, right, per character. And so this is some conceptual thing that novices will type, then novices typing time will reduce like this. Experienced users typing time will reduce like this, and it will plateau out at some stage. So this is what he was trying to find out. And then he showed that just by, if you purely based on finger movement, you're not thinking when you're doing tapping, tap, 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 tap. Just you're homing. You don't want to type the other key. So just homing. So then as soon as you make it 4 target tapping, it starts taking more time per this is typing time per tap or per character. Okay, so as soon as you say you tap 4 things, it becomes harder. Okay, or you slow yourself down. Okay. Then by 2015 or 16, speech started becoming available in Indian languages. You can hear the sound online? Online. Samiksha?
Yes, sir, we can hear. It is audible.
So the thing with speech is that, at least at that time, and even now, it makes mistakes. So the challenge is whether it can help you do faster and better, even after you're correcting the mistakes. Yeah.
Does this require online connectivity?
Yes, at that time it did. Now probably we don't. लड़कियों चंद्रबिंदु नाम से ठीक है. So right, so it is good in some cases and
वंदे मातरम बंकिम चंद्र चटर्जी द्वारा संस्कृत में रचा गया.
so sometimes it gets it perfectly, sometimes it doesn't. So we ran this study, Swarachakra and Swarachakra with voice. Okay. So again, we started people off, children. Okay. And then they came, this was within subject study of sorts, but in two groups. Group one was given the voice after 20 sessions, each session about 10 phrases. And group two was given after 40 sessions. As soon as we gave them voice, group one shot up in their speed and we started still touching 100, 120 characters per minute. And then we took away speech from them and gave it to the other group. And the other group shot. Right? So, right. So, and you can see that that baseline keeps going up. Huh? It doesn't stop. So that baseline, when you do long enough, get to about 150, 160, 170, even without any voice, anything, any of these tools. But the thing is, okay, what happens in English then? English, Chinese, many of these scripts, they have said voice is not significantly different. That is because उनका जो baseline है वो already 150 के आसपास. Right? So already there, so they don't see much benefit of doing that. Whereas here, actually, it is much more beneficial. Of course, there are other disadvantages of sound, there is no privacy and all those things, but I mean, we don't use sound for those reasons, but those who can't, whatever. Okay. A few other things. Then we did some couple of studies for blind. Okay. So I think most people don't know how blind people type. Okay. So here is my colleague from that time, member of our lab, Rini Ahirwar. Okay. And she's trying to type her name Rini Ahirwar, and her spelling is R-I-N-I. Rini Ahirwar is A-H-I-R-W-A-R. So she's going to type these 7, 8, 10 characters. Okay.
Capital R. Y. I. S. X. N. G. N. November. N. G. H. I. Home button. Space. Shift A. And caps lock enabled. Capital Z. Capital X. Capital X. X-ray. Capital Z. Capital S. Capital S. Sierra. Capital S. Capital V. Capital F. Capital G. Capital H. Capital H. Shift. Capital A. Alpha. Shift disabled.
You couldn't find A. So anyway, so that is called explore by touch, by the way. This method is called explore by touch. And this is on Google Indic. So this is called explore by touch, and so Google Indic supports it. So commercially available keyboard. Swarachakra hamara. So what is the issue with Swarachakra? So when you touch, it shows the chakra. So now where will you explore? So we had to change the design. So I had an intern. His name is Pabba. So he did an internship for 6 months with us, Pabba Anu Bharat. And he wanted to do this. He said has to be made accessible. So then it was not working because our keyboard and the standard keyboards work differently. And so he actually went through a lot of technical struggle to make it implementable. Okay. But he ultimately cracked it. So here's a demo of that. So second touch. So we brought in many of these shortcuts and many of these other things. Anyway, so that's, I think you get the idea about that. So we ran these two, Google Indic versus Swarachakra, both accessible versions of both keyboards. Again, this is, we went to blind school in Delhi and participated with them. It was a much smaller study because it was a within subject study, and B, it was very slow, much slower. I mean, compared to sighted people, the blind people type, much slower. But so we got to now, so within subject, which means the same keyboard was used by two different people. Sorry, the same person used both keyboards. पहले एक फिर दूसरा. So half the people started with Google Indic, the other started with Swarachakra, and then we flipped. Okay, so you can see everybody's attempt to is faster than attempt two. That is understandable. They are learning to type and faster and so on, right? But you will also see that Swarachakra consistently sort of, the red one is, the orange one is Swarachakra, it consistently does better than Google Indic, but again, not by much. Again, this is like really very early days and so on. Right. Okay, so we did that, but for this work, we got a award in the Interact 2017 conference. So, and then a couple of years later, I think 2018, we did this. So now this is the same similar design, slightly modified. Okay, and now we added a voice. Blind people can speak. So. Okay, now it's wrong. It's still wrong. See, so little difference, no? You can't tell. The space is extra, or you should have an extra space. Right. Anyway, so we ran this. This was in a blind school in Nashik, girls' school, all girls, class 7 to 9th. That school was very reluctant in the beginning to let students use phones because they were not allowed to use phones, which I thought was very strange, but this 2018. So, but they were not allowed to use phones. So initially they were reluctant, but then they allowed us. Then we ran this study and so on. So it was an interesting study. Again, it was a similar result. And in fact, if you see, so they actually were even slower in the beginning, but we gave them extended practice, 15 sessions, I think 10 phrases initially, and then gave them voice. One group went up, the other group went up, and so on. So that pattern repeats. You'll notice that actually these guys are faster. If you just go back to that graph there, no? This is going to about 120 average, right? And that is going above that. 150 plus average, 160, 170. So for the first time in the history of the world, I think, we have a study of with blind users giving us faster result than study with sighted people. However, the blind people made more mistakes and they didn't realize. You saw that Natsare thing, huh? So those kind of errors they made more basically, right? So, but anyway, we got another award in Interact 2019 for this paper. So, okay. So we can take a break now. It's almost 4:40. So maybe we can take a 10-minute break. But if there are any questions, we can have them.
So I have one question. So first of all, आपने जो first design किया था, वो pretty like मैं वन हैंड से यूज कर सकता हूँ बट द सेकंड डिजाइन जो आपने आपके इंटरनेट में जो डाला था वो इट्स लाइक टू
But that you have to find another way of making it accessible then, otherwise. Accessibility, you have to make it accessible.
Yeah.
So if you want to keep that, I mean, one thing is of course do a completely different design, right? That's a different, we have done many other designs also. And we will see now, after some time, we will see some, hopefully Rupesh will show some, Abhiram, kya chal raha hai? Demo. So we'll show you some more many designs we are working on, okay? But if you want to maintain Swarachakraness of the Swarachakra, then this is the idea that he came up with, the second touch. So I didn't know that all phones support multi-touches now. I mean, current contemporary phones support 5-6 touches. Yeah. So multi-touch is a very common thing which we had not used. So then now we could use it. So it was exploration. But yeah, I mean, one can find another way. Yeah, we can find another way.
And my second question is, suppose मैंने अगर एक लाइन की है कि मी J1 केलं सपोज सो अभी आपने जो वीडियो दिखाया था जो ब्लाइंड पर्सन सपोज लाइक वो फाइंड आउट करे कि क्या रहेगा सो सी एट दैट टाइम यूजेबिलिटी टेस्टिंग में उनके एक्सप्रेशंस पे हो रहा कि कुछ फ्रस्ट्रेशंस भी थे कि फाइंड आउट नहीं हो रहा तो सपोज मी J1 केलं मी J1 बट मैं ढूंढ रहा हूँ सपोज एंड लाइक मुझे याद नहीं कि मैंने क्या टाइप किया था एक टाइम बाद वो रहता है कि अटेंशन तो उसके लिए कुछ
So okay, so I mean this is not an accessibility class and it's not really my area of expertise, but all devices, your phones, your computers, all OSs have accessibility features built into it. There are proprietary software that you can install on computers. There is, but Android and iOS by default they have these are all OS features. Okay, so the OS allows you. So this is called, I mean, screen readers. These are called. So talkback, screen readers, voiceover. There are different names, but basically they are essentially screen readers, and they allow us. So blind people can browse websites. Blind people can. So they are trained to do these things. Okay. Our focus here in this study was only text input in Indian language. वैसे English के लिए तो explore by touch है or whatever, even from Google Indic explore by touch है. So explore by touch is the mechanism for keyboards, but we made explore by touch suitable for Swarachakra. That is the small contribution of that particular project. Okay. So, but yeah, I mean, but this is a mechanism that is there, and it is not very satisfactory. It is very difficult to learn, and I mean. But okay, here's the thing. I mean, I can tell you a few stories. We went and studied some blind people and so on. And this is a study that we did in 2018. Okay, so not very long ago. And in 2018, we met many blind people who are using their E60 Nokia phones, the BlackBerry style phones, basically the big keyboard wala phones. They didn't want to let that go, but those phones were becoming old. Right. And not working anymore. So the thing is that it is a belief in this universal design principles. It is an argument that phones and devices should be like a standard device should be given to a blind person. To make a standard common device, don't make a special device for blind. Because then उसको कौन maintain करेगा? It will not progress. It will not have. अभी suppose एक नया app आ गया, that app will not work on that, right? Or say Big Basket launches something or Zepto launches something. Blind person needs to be able to use it, right? So, I mean, how does a blind person? You can't make another Zepto for blind people and whatever. So the approach is to make everything accessible through a common mechanism. Okay, but they are not nice. मेरा एक favorite. I'll end with this favorite. Going to get into a break with a favorite thing. Oh my, this thing is about to break. But anyway, broke. So very good. So my favorite thing was we make a thing like this and we put it upside down. And just like we have holes and we have some, I don't know if people can see online. But we have a texture here and we can use that and then I can actually, I can touch this और I can touch hard disk के नीचे connect होगा and उससे I can design something. That is my favorite. But never we made something, but in those days the 3D printing was a little early, so it was not as flexible. Now, आजकल we get much nicer 3D printed things, and we can do these kind of projects.
What was the goal?
Make it accessible, tangible. So I want to run it on a standard Android base, but I want to make it accessible. So I'll make this separately, and let us say तुम्हारा कुछ app है, so you make Gmail, you make one like this. Or you 3D print one like this and you just put it on top.
Specialized case for.
I mean, I'm just thinking, or maybe they could generalize. पहले एक तो बना के देखते हैं, फिर कैसे करने का वो होता है। But वो बहुत 3D प्रोडक्ट बनाया बहुत हार्ड हुआ, वैसे रबरी नहीं है उसका, तो एक रबर बेस्ड 3D प्रोडक्टिंग या और नॉट नेसेसरली ओनली 3D प्रोडक्टिंग, यू कैन मेक आवर ओन, ये करके भी कर सकते हैं, मोल्ड बना के भी कर सकते हैं। अच्छा प्रोजेक्ट है।
Sounds good.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Okay, people online, we'll take a short break and then, but don't go away. We are coming up with lot more stuff. So please stay tuned. We are just, if you came next time, please come in person. There are some, always we serve some snacks and some nice things. So please be around. Please, so maybe 10 minutes, huh? So I will be back at 4:55. I mean, people who are watching this afterwards, this hopefully will start at another 10 minutes. So you can fast forward 10 minutes. They will just see us eating. Huh?
Could you mute?
Can I mute it? You want to talk bad things about people?
Say something in the
Okay, I'm just going out to kind of call the people back in. So please hang on. People are just having their samosas. Okay. Otherwise, we will not finish by 6. And I also want to use some time for. Okay, so just waiting for back. Thank you for organizing the snacks. Whoever did that. Is it you? Who organized?
The team.
The team. Chalo, good. Thank you very much. So I think we can continue. So if there are any questions about our early work that any of you have, then I can answer them now, or we shift to looking at mouse. Some of the other work. So we have now talked. So Rupesh, are you there?
Yes, sir. I'm there.
So over to you. I'm going to stop sharing. If you want, you can share your screen or just speak or whatever.
Sure.
So we will start with Rupesh. His basic area of PhD is to understand the effect of different kinds of shifts or pop-up menus like Chakra and comparing them with what he calls flat keyboards. So we can see that. And then we will have Pooja and Divyansh. I don't know if he has joined. Divyansh, are you there? Is he supposed to join, right?
Yes, sir. He's supposed to join.
Right. So they are just starting out on new projects in text input research. Both of them are similar, basically trying to use prediction and what we call as lightning compose or those kind of technologies where as you type, in the text box itself, more text comes in. So that is one style of prediction. And the other one is on the top of the keyboard. So they are trying out comparisons on that. Systematic comparisons on that have not been done yet. We're going to do that. Then we have demos of 2 different interaction techniques. So Abhiram is here. So Abhiram and Harshavardhan in the recent years, in the last couple of years, worked on a couple of new interaction techniques. So we have that, and then we have some more at the end. But okay, so first it's Rupesh. Rupesh?
Sir, can you provide me access rights to share my screen? I just requested.
Yeah, I just allowed it. Go ahead.
Okay. Please let me know once you are able to see.
Yeah, we can see. Please go ahead.
Okay.
The slideshow.
Yes. Okay. The broader area of my research falls under empirical study of text input methods in Indian languages on mobile keyboards. And my focus area in this text input method is study of effect of space saving mechanisms compared with flat keyboards in Indian language mobile keyboards. So you will come to know what I mean to say space saving mechanisms in the following slides. So given the Indian languages means the characters set is huge. The existing keyboards which are designed are based upon the QWERTY based 22, 24 characters, 26 characters designs. However, Indian text requires more than twice number of characters to accommodate them. So there are different mechanisms have been adopted to accommodate these number of characters. One is predominantly shift layers. When you click on shift, it will change its entire layer, and shows the different set of characters. And the other way is dynamism. When you click on any character, the keys itself will show different characters. That is in Google Indic keyboards, which adopted. The third mechanism, which is our Swar Chakra keyboard, pop-up menus, which has been adopted by Swar Chakra and Sparsh. So, and Disha as well. You have seen the Disha, which with stylus base, right? So it has a small chakra. So this slides explains how the dynamism comes in. So, for example, if you press on Ka, the first row changes to different combination of vowel modifiers with consonants, and then there are some pop-ups which has been used in the same layout. If you see this shift, if you see this layout, it is still on the first main layout, but still it is using different mechanisms over here. And if you go into the deeper shift, again, it goes into dynamic, it goes into different rare character of conjuncts, and then all possible conjuncts and possible other vowel rarely used characters. The other design is the Inscript, the other popular keyboard, which is designed by the government CDAC. So this is again uses shift predominantly. However, this is semi logical or frequency based keyboard, which is predominantly uses the QWERTY keyboard to arrange the characters. So this set of left side, you will see the vowel modifiers, frequently used vowel modifiers, and then on the right side, you see frequently used consonants. So similarly, when you click on shift, it will show vowels and consonants. So there are 43 keys which has been used in two different layers over here. So why this research? Why to study this space saving mechanisms versus flat keyboard? So since there is no standard for standard way to develop a keyboard, it is hard to design a keyboard for the Indian scripts. So we thought, okay, what if there is a flat keyboard which does not use any mechanisms? It just shows all the frequently most used characters on single layer. And how does it go? Then that we designed, which is called Swarvarna. I will show those pictures as well. However, that has its own pros and cons. If we show more number of characters in one layout, the hand movement time may increase, homing time may increase, information overload may come, learning and search may come, which will again takes you to more errors and slower speeds. So the research is like given the screen size, these keyboards, whatever the space saving mechanisms have been designed, those were designed when the screen size was very small. But we have like 6.2 inch now on an average screen sizes right now for the smartphones. So given that screen size, flat keys with additional rows, our argument is flat keys with additional rows may enhance typing efficiency and be more effective than the compact space saving keyboards. That is our argument, and it is our focus is more on single handed and single finger text input. And coming to the other factors which comes in is whether it should be frequent or logical arrangement. Swara Chakra and other keyboards have already, there are many studies which Sir has shown Swara Chakra performed better on a logical way of arrangement. The other factors which comes in factors is visual design. Again, Sir has spoken a lot about visual design and how the loss has been implemented, the interaction loss. And the layout. Layout also comes into factor. And there could be open loop interaction techniques like pie menu or flow write or shape writing by Parola team. So it's like a swipe. When you swipe, it just gives a complete sentence or the complete word phrase kind of thing. And so our research questions comes like this.
So, do you have have you shown your keyboards? You're not shown the flatter versions. Do you have screenshots?
Yes, sir. I have those. I'm going to show
People
them.
will not understand without they look at that.
Okay. Then let me show them first.
Show, just slow.
So flat keyboard, I mean, is it's a Swarvarna, which we named it as Swarvarna. It's a similar version to Swar Chakra. So we use the same layout. Whatever the consonants which are placed in Swar Chakra, we have used the same layout over here so that there won't be much variation over here. And then the vowels which are there inside this chakra, we brought in, we added one more row on top of this and added all the frequent vowels on the top. And there is a vowel modifiers chakra, where we brought in all the vowel modifiers over here onto the left. Again, there could be an argument whether it should be left side or right side, but for now we have taken it as a right. Most of the experiments that we are conducting with right hand, so we have placed it on here on the left with two columns. All the special characters have been removed and that space has been used over here. And again, the color factor, the visual design factors have been implemented with subtle colors. So this is so here what is the difference is the number of rows is not much. It's just one row above the height of the keyboard of Swar Chakra. So we argue that there won't be much difference with the increased screen sizes and the reach of the thumb or the index finger with which we are going to conduct. So this is the Swarvarna flat version. We have another versions of the same, like for Google Indic we have developed, and for Inscript also we have developed and designed for it. I will show them at the end. So our research question is, what are the effect of space saving mechanisms of shift view, dynamism, and interaction techniques of chakra on typing performance? So to study these, we designed 3 studies right now. The first one is phrase typing. So the main goal of this study is to understand the learning curve of novice to expert level, how it phases. So we will be giving 300 phrases for them to type. So these 300 phrases are I'm sorry, this is.
It's okay, no? Because the specific language.
Okay. Anyway, so these phrases are designed in such a way that the user will start with easy phrases, then medium, and then hard. So these phrases are like that, but when after typing with easy, we will randomize them, and so that it will be counterbalanced within the phrases, as well as it is again, I forgot to tell you that this study will be within mixed subject, where a pair of keyboards like Swar Chakra and Swarvarna will be given to one user, which will become between subject, whereas other user will perform on Google Indic versus Govarna, which again between subject, within subject, and we will compare between these two pairs. So that will become between subject. So that is the first study. The second study is repeated measure phrase typing. We will be giving 4 phrases, and those 4 phrases they have to type 200 times. So we would like to study, see how the expert speech will saturate with this practice of repeated typing. And then the third study is continuous typing performance. We have came up with 278 bigrams and trigram combinations. So here our interest is to see where this peak saturation will happen for the Indian text input. So this is a snapshot of the keyboards. So the top row, you see the space saving keyboards, the Swar Chakra with the pie menu, the pop-up menu, and then Gboard Hindi keyboard. This is the identical version of the Gboard which is there in the Play Store. Then the Inscript, which is again identical to the Inscript CDAC version. So we came up with the Varna versions of this, the flat keyboards. So this is Swarvarna, which we have seen in the earlier, and this is Govarna. So how we have came up with is whatever the most frequent characters with even within the shift keyboards, shift layers that we brought up here, and then we utilized one more layer for showing the vowel modifiers. So rows are coming on top of this layer, on top of this the original version. And in script again, there are two shift layers here. So each row will have, again, you see the yellow ones. So those are in the second layer that we brought up on top of each layer. For example, there's 1, 2, the numerics have been removed, and we accommodated the more frequent characters over here with that. So we removed those and utilized this space, the inner shift version over here. So the yellow versions are coming on top of the this fourth row, third row. So like that we arranged each of them, so it will become 6 rows. So we are going to conduct these studies in this month and coming month, and want to see again, this is the hypothetical view of the practice versus speeds. So the first study will show, we want to see where the novice are coming with their experiment, with their speeds for all these keyboards. And then experts, again, we have seen 45 words per minute is the expert speeds which they reach in this first experiment in the earlier studies. And we want to see if repeated phrase typing can improve their speeds and where that saturation coming in. And why I'm calling this as superficial speeds, because in our daily life, we won't type this diagram kind of a thing, repeat continuous typing so much, or very rarely used. So that's why we want to see where these superficial speeds are saturating. So the main goal of these text input research is to come to this sweet spot where we can type more phrases with less interactions, and a novice user can type at the speeds. So yeah, this is my research. Any questions?
Yeah, thank you. Questions, then we can move to Pooja. Pooja, you want to share your screen? Or
Yes. Hello everyone. Good evening. So I'm Pooja Das, and although the topic of today is text input and has focused on designing keyboards for so long, we are also going to look at a very particular feature, tools that are used for text input, one of which is predictive suggestions, as we may have come across. So we already know here these points, like how in research on text input of Indian language is quite limited in comparison to English or alphabets. And Indian scripts such as Devanagari or Bengali actually involve quite unique linguistic challenges, such as agglutination, complex script forms, and other limited digital resources, as we have seen so far. So through this presentation, I will try to just introduce what I've learned so far about predictive suggestions and some key studies I'll be referencing. Three of them were done in IDC itself, and one of them is seminal work by Quinn and Zai, 2016. So first of all, what are predictive text suggestions? So usually we know that they use statistical or machine learning models to suggest a next word based on the current input. So they have a confidence threshold set. If the suggested word meets that kind of if the word pool that they have meets this confidence threshold, then few of those words which are meeting this threshold are suggested to the user. As we may have seen in our soft keyboards, like if you use your keyboard, you may see three suggestions given on top and bottom. So what are the primary benefits of this? As what we have seen or we have known so far is first of all keystroke reduction. So the amount of keyboard actions that a user has to do is reduced if they use predictive suggestions, but it also comes with a lot of challenges, which is something we'll be focusing on and which is something I hope to focus on during my studies this semester. So some challenges that these papers that I'll be discussing talk about is, first of all, cognitive load. So we have to see it as a journey. When you have suggestions on top of your keyboard, it's not just present there, but it also comes with a cognitive load because the user has to first recognize that, okay, there are suggestions given. They have to sift through all the suggestions, make an assumption or make an understanding, select which one truly works or which one they were looking for, and then select it. So, due to which, even though the key input action is reduced, the time taken to form that same sentence, like how are you, may increase. Because when you're writing A, three options may be shown, are, something else. So to go through all three now and select one of them, which again, as explained, takes some sort of cognitive load. So in depth, it's just a little bit more details into it that it incorporates some contextual information which has been used, which is taken from the preceding words that is used. Dictionaries are used for this as well. And why does it matter for Indian languages? Is again because there are conjuncts and vowel makers. So we require more sophisticated models for predictive text suggestion. And we also, the nature of the language also demands larger and more diverse corpora, which the Mobile NCI 2016 paper has worked with. And they have quite a nice corpus to test predictive suggestions from. So insights from the research papers that I'll be talking about shows that predictive features often actually slow typing in Devanagari due to this cognitive effort that I was talking about. And the paper two suggests that adaptive interfaces actually improve usability by balancing suggestion frequency. So the frequency of suggestion, I think a paper or a project by Prasad Dhone also talks about something very similar, like when to predict, how much to predict, something similar. So the first paper I'll be talking about. So these three papers actually are inspiring three studies that I'll be doing this semester, which I'll be talking about. But before I get into my studies, it's important we understand what's in those papers. So the first paper is by AJ sir, Girish sir from IDC itself. It says, does prediction really help in Marathi text input? So they evaluate the impact of predictive versus non-predictive features on Marathi virtual keyboards. So they had around, I believe, yes, 4 keyboards that were tested, which were of different kinds. First was InScript, which was a frequency-based keyboard. Second was SwiftKey, which had gesture typing, again, frequency-based keyboard. Third was Swara Chakras, which was made in IDC, which was a logical grid layout with a circular pop-up, and Sparsh, which was again a logical layout, but with rectangular pop-ups. So what they found, this is just an overview, was that non-predictive keyboards actually outperformed predictive ones in speed due to this demand, and logical layouts such as Swara Chakra were more efficient, proven to be more efficient during the study than the frequency-based layouts, which would mean InScript and Swift. So for methods, they did a longitudinal study over 31 sessions. Some of the metrics are shown on the screen, but the problem was this was done as a between subject study and not a within subject. So my goal for this semester for my first study is to actually extend it and take it to a between subject study for Bengali languages, and also add a few more details to it, which I'll be coming to next. So the second paper, which is quite a seminal work on text and tree suggestion interaction, it was done by Quinn and Zai in 2016, and they do a cost-benefit study. Although they might sound similar in nature, there are certain differences which I'll be speaking about. So in this, they investigate the trade-offs that, okay, fine, we are saving certain keystrokes or key input actions, but what kind of cognitive load is happening in this prediction system? And we also compare the user preference performance across different suggestion assertiveness level. Now, when I say assertive level, so they had three kinds of assertive levels. One was extraverted, where suggestions were present. One was ambiverted, where certain suggestions were present, especially the ones which met this confidence level that they had set with their model, which was suggesting predictions. And the third was introverted, that there were no suggestions or all. So as you can see, the findings shown that according to these three different kinds of assertiveness, the introverted interfaces had the highest speed. And this was done for English language, by the way. And the ambiverted systems were, again, context sensitive and the confidence level matters here, were preferred despite the reduced speed. This is just a user preference that was collected later on by a subjective study that they did called NASA TLX. So, just a second. So we have a 500 phase corpus here actually under each condition, and participants have transcribed pre-selected phrases for these experiments. And what they measured was speed, which is CPS, input efficiency, the suggestion utility, and again, as I said, subjective feedback, like which one would they prefer, which level of assertiveness would they prefer via our NASA TLX workload ratings. And I also want to just mention all the studies that I'm showing here are about soft keyboards and soft keyboards and typing. It may change if some other mode of text input is used. So, yes, and there's another paper which is actually coming out soon by Vedant and AJ sir, IDC text. Although I don't want to go very deep into it, but as we had talked about before, Sanjay Ghosh's 2019 paper talks about an accelerated learning mechanism and study. So that has been employed here, but it was done in quite a smaller level. So taking all these three papers, I have planned 3 studies after this. So the first is Bengali keyboard evaluation. I'll be taking different kind of Bengali keyboards with different kinds of layouts and compare them using predictive and non-predictive feature on. And it would be a within subject short term study with 300 Bengali phrases, which is also a corpus that I've been working on. Certain metrics that I would like to take a look at. And then second and third are pretty much similar, but for two different languages. The first is Bengali and the second is English, so that the study 2 and 3 can later combine and give a more overview and a comparative view basically of how the trade-offs differ. Because as we know, in English language, the baseline speed that people type with is much higher than it is in Avida scripts. So having these two studies would give us a nice comparative look at how predictive suggestions work for English versus how they work for Bengali, but done in a more systematic way. So again, an accelerated learning approach, very longitudinal within subjects design, and over 100 sessions will be conducted with this. And the Bengali phrases that will be used will have different difficulty indexes. Some phrases might be easy, medium, and hard, etc. And a similar study would be done for English using the Mackenzie corpus. See, this is a little more detailed into maybe what I may look at. Yeah, just very basic structure. So, so there's a little difference between study 1 and there's certain key differences between study 1 and study 2 and 3. Although you may think they are all working towards predictive suggestions only, but it's to also understand that how the first study would be more about understanding the usability of keyboard features according to different keyboards. And for study 2 and 3, it would be more of a comparative study showing us how predictive suggestions actually influence learning and performance over time. So, yes, predictive text input holds really like promise, and we require more tailored approaches than already exist in English language. Although there's a lot of work that can be done in the future, there's another work that I'm quite interested in, which I'm still looking into, is this paper that I read. It's for English languages, but now that we have generative AI and LLM models come up, people co-write with LLM model, with the help of LLM models. So how does that work in terms of Indian languages, especially if we have different levels of scaffolding? And when I say scaffolding, you can refer to this paper, which suggests that comparing different scenarios, such as, let's say, if there is no AI assistance, then if there are next sentence suggestions and next paragraph suggestions, so seeing how all of these interact and the differences that lie between them is also something I'm interested and shall be exploring in the next semesters to come. But here, I'm just going to say I'm very new to this right now. I'm exploring a lot of things and I'm conducting the study, so I need participants. So if you're a native Bengali speaker, would you like to contribute to this research? So that's my contact information. If you wish to contact me about this further, if you have more to share, more insights to give, or there's a QR code for the digital people, you can scan it. I'll also put there's a Google form you can fill up. There'll be your details. I'll reach out to you. And probably we can get over coffee and do a study for 20 minutes. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Pooja. Okay, is there any question for Pooja or I could move on? So I have otherwise any questions for Pooja?
All these predictive algorithms, are these all running online or is it offline database algorithm?
I believe there is offline models as well, but yes, if you're using newer LLM models, that those are mostly online.
Yeah, all the keyboards are offline.
Yeah.
Keyboards offline.
Yes.
Although they log your usage, but the work of
But the predictive model is also offline in those keyboards.
yeah, those are quite simple. They usually, like if you have typed these characters before or these characters, whatever, then they will create a set of words which are most likely to do. So the smarter ones take into account things like grammar and context. The dumber one just go back sheer numbers basically. But I mean, they just go by the frequency tables and things like that. But basically, yeah, I mean, these are old technologies. Like they've been around, all the prediction in keyboards has been around for more than 15, 16 years on phones, basically. I mean, ever since smartphones have been around, they've been around. Yeah. Okay, so that is that. Divyansh is actually not here today. I couldn't find him, but so he is working also on this lightning compose style prediction. So not the keyboard-based prediction, but in the text prediction and so on. So let us see how, or at least that's what he is working on currently. He may or may not work on that. Okay. A few other things. So Abhiram is actually here, but he sent me a video, so I'll just put that video in and you can play that. Hopefully you can see.
Hi, I'm Abhiram. I'm here to introduce Cortex, a wearable keyboard designed to make typing faster and more intuitive for Indian languages starting with Malayalam. This project was guided by Professor Aniruddha Joshi. Cortex is a compact quarter keyboard that uses natural dexterity of your hands to enable faster text input. Unlike traditional keyboards where you press one key at a time, a quarter keyboard allows you to type multiple characters with simultaneous key presses. With just 10 joystick keys, Cortex can type all 56 languages of Malayalam alphabet. And here is how it works. Individual vowel signs are typed with single keys, and vowels are typed by pressing the thumb key along with the respective key. Consonant groups are mapped to specific two key presses. For example, pressing both the index fingers gives out the ka series in different directions. Cortex also allows direct word input for frequently used words. For example, pressing these four keys types this word. Olu. The current mapping is optimized for Malayalam, one of the 22 scheduled languages of India. However, Cortex versatilely enables seamless multilingual text input. For example, this is how you type Bhasha in Malayalam language. And simply switch the language to Hindi and the same mapping works effortlessly. In a user study with 18 participants, Cortex achieved an average typing speed of 85 characters per minute by the 10th session in Malayalam. We are working to optimize its mapping further and expand it to more languages. If you would like to collaborate, share feedback, or support the project, feel free to reach out. Together, we can reshape the future of multilingual text.
Thank you. So again, Abhisham is here. So if anybody wants to ask him any questions, he's there. And you got the product?
Yes.
Yeah. So we can look at the products at the end.
How much training is needed for this?
That's what the keyboard, that graph shows, no? So that's a claim at the end of a P2, so or a P1. But we need to run a more rigorous study and see how it holds up. But yeah, it's a very promising thing. If you can get, if in 10 phrases, in 10 sessions, we can get to 80 characters per minute. That's the fastest that we have ever done on the keyboard. So I mean, you can just contextualize now, right? See, you can understand and compare. Okay, good. Anything else on that? No. Any other questions, or should we move on to the next one? So next is another kind of interaction technique. This is
typing in Indian languages on mobile devices has always been a challenge, especially in Marathi, where complex combinations of consonants and vowels make typing slow and cumbersome. Hi, I'm Harshvardhan, and today I am excited to introduce Swarachitra, a gesture-based keyboard designed to make typing in Marathi language faster, easier, and intuitive. Marathi, like many other Indian languages, uses the Devanagari script, which has 52 letters compared to just 26 in the English alphabet, which makes typing in Marathi more complex. On a traditional Marathi keyboard, users have to navigate through multiple layers to input the correct characters, which significantly slows their typing speed. Surachitra is designed specifically for touchscreen mobile phones, taking inspiration from the e-leg concept. Instead of tapping multiple keys, you simply draw a gesture. For example, drawing a matra like E over a consonant like K instantly forms the word key. With Swarachitra, inputting vowel plus consonant combinations or barakadi is now seamless, and the gestures are designed after the shapes of the matras, making it very easy to learn and to use. The keyboard's layout is designed to feel familiar and it mirrors the way letters are taught at school, helping users learn the layout quickly and intuitively. To ensure Swarachitra truly improves the typing experience, we built a working prototype for Android devices and we conducted user testing with it. In the user testing, we tested the typing speed, the corrected error rate, and the uncorrected error rate with 10 users typing 20 phrases for 10 sessions. And by the 10th session, the users got up to an average speed of 50 CPM, 50 characters per minute. And I personally have managed to get speeds of up to 90 CPM with this keyboard. Thank you for watching. You can find the links to the GitHub and the APK, which you can try out on Android devices in the description. And thank you for watching. And if you'd like to learn more about this project or contribute to it, please feel free to reach out to me.
Okay, so that is Harshavardhan. I have a few other quick projects to share of different types now. So actually, already Pooja mentioned this project. So this is going to come out as a paper. This was published in DHCI, so the publication should be out in the next few weeks, hopefully. So this is basically, so as you might have heard, so it has actually been, it is, I mean, just you cannot just look at a keyboard and say, okay, this one will do well. You know, keyboards are particularly tricky to predict as designs, whether they will work or not. So you have to run what are called as empirical studies. So typically now, if a researcher has to conduct, I mean, has to design a new keyboard, he or she has to design a new keyboard, has to implement it in some technology, either hardware, software, whatever, and then run a study. Now, to run a study, usually you cannot just take a stopwatch and stand next to the user and run a study. You have to collect a lot of data, a lot of detailed data, a lot of analysis has to be done. So I had an intern, Vedant Deshmukh, last year. He actually created a tool to help us run studies, and this tool is particularly specialized for Indian languages in some unique ways. So, so this is the tool actually. So it should work. Yeah, it works. And in fact, he has put out a tutorial. Now the tutorial is like 20 minutes long, so I'm not going to run through it, but it is available. It's like how to set up a study. Okay, so actually it takes longer to go through the video than to set up the study. Like the study itself takes just, you have to just fill up a form that you give your own unique name and some number, how many sessions you want, like Pooja mentioned 200 sessions and somebody else mentioned 100 sessions and whatever. So there are many different sessions. I mean, the length of the study, number of phrases that you want the user to type in every session, and whether you want the phrases to be randomized or in a specific order. So that choice. And then you just upload the CSV file with the study. So there is a particular that you can sample, you can download the sample and populate it basically, so you don't get the formatting wrong. Okay, so you can actually, so I'll say yes, then I will show you a sample, I think. Yeah. So the issue with Unicode implementation for Indian language is not so nice. It's a little messy. Well, it's much nicer now than it was earlier, but still there are some messes around the corner. Okay. I'll give you a simple example. And this is actually being printed as a mistake right now in, so if you are a Marathi reader, or even if you're not a Marathi reader, you can read the current editions of the print editions of Maharashtra Times. And you can see that mistake. In Maharashtra Times, when they have to type the word like Apple or Android or any of those kind of words, advisor or whatever, I mean, they have to type that kind of a word with an A in it. So in Unicode, there is an A character separately. Okay. But when, as I said, these are proprietary systems which just dump stuff in Unicode online and even in print. So actually you get a and then a separate A with a dot 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 circle under it. You're getting that right now in like yesterday's newspaper, today's newspaper. You'll find it somewhere in the newspaper in Maharashtra Times. Okay. Hey, Maharashtra Times, I called you out. Okay. So all of this is right now happening. Okay. So now that's an exception. I mean, sometimes in some keyboards, I don't think in Google Indic you can type A. Okay, or at least I think that is the problem that you face. So now it will show up if your phrase has an A, it will show up as an error for the user. But it's not fair. I mean, the keyboard cannot type, so you have to handle that as an exception, basically. Okay. Or sometimes it looks correct, but it is wrong. So like if you have to type A, then you write A and then put a Chandran above it, it will look correct. So you like you're talking orange or whatever you're typing, something like that. So it looks correct, but it is actually wrong Unicode because there's another A character which you should have typed actually. Okay. So now as a study designer, you can decide whether you want to handle these as exceptions or penalize the user. That's your choice. Okay. But then if you're handling them as exceptions, then you can create a separate exception file and upload it. Okay, then again choose whether it's between subjects or within subjects, whether you have just one keyboard or two keyboards or three keyboards, how many keyboards you want to compare. And then if it is within subject, then you have to enter the names of keyboards in the sequence in which or whatever, in the different keyboards separated by commas. Like if you have three keyboards, because you don't want to say keyboard 1, keyboard 2 in the study, right? I mean, people will get confused. So you have to say use Swara Chakra, use Google Indic, use Sparsh, use Swift key, use Inscript, whatever. Okay, then you just fill out this form and submit, and voila, your study. There may be a few other fields that will come afterwards, but then that's it. You create the study. When your study is ready, you can run the study. You will get the data on that study. You will get a URL for. You can enroll users. So when you enroll each user, for each user, you can send that link on WhatsApp to the user. So even remotely, you can conduct the study. So it's like chakachak. It's become really 10 times easier to conduct the study now than it was earlier. Earlier, you have to create this system also. Like when Abhiram ran a study, when Harshavardhan ran a study, and they're making their tall claims of 80 characters per minute and 90 characters per minute, they have conducted their own study and they have created their own system. So because this tool is now there and it's openly available, it's also available on Git, so you can actually even change it. So I mean that was, I thought, a very nice work by it has provided a lot of support for future researchers to conduct quick studies. Of course, there will be something unique that you want to do which is not supported. So it is actually available in Git. So you can actually download the code, make the changes. You don't have to build the whole tool, only the changes that you want to make and then upload. Or you can also give a party to Vedant and he will do the changes for you. Okay. This is work of, this is not very new, it is old, 2015, by Kaustubh, so 10 years old now. So Kaustubh Limaye was, this is his more recent picture. It's very difficult to find his pictures online, but I found one where he was giving some talk at some event. So he created a similar thing, but now it is gamified. So now this works like, so if you follow Marathi, you can read some of these comments basically. So it will say, okay, type this sentence. You type the sentence, it will make comments about what you have typed. So like, it's like a chatbot basically. Of course, this was done in 2015, so making chatbots was not very easy at that time. So this was all, these comments are all rule-based and hard-coded, like agar aisa hua hai to ye, aisa hua to kind of a thing. So it's not really a very efficient code. It was just a proof of concept that we tested, but it worked actually. I mean, Kaustubh made a very nice working prototype, which we ran for almost 3-4 years, and it was fun. So it'll make some snide comment, some witty comments it will make about what you are doing and whatever. I mean, you can also adjust the, you can make it more snide or less cynical or whatever. I mean, depending on what you do and how much speed you achieve and things like that. This is another gamification effort that we did. This is work of Vivek Paul Joseph. He was an MDes student, I think, in which year? We'll say somewhere. Sometime around 2016-17 period. Okay. And he basically this is about, so when people type, so in Swarachakra in early days, we were capturing the words that people were typing. The frequency of words. We are not capturing what people are typing. We're capturing which word is used, how frequently. And we use that frequency analysis, but there are many wrongly spelled words there. Okay, so we have then, this is a natural corpus, unlike let's say Wikipedia, which is really an edited corpus, or a newspaper corpus, which is an edited corpus. This is a very important piece of background work that we need. So like, for example, in our languages, we don't have a spell checker. We don't have autocorrect mechanisms, good autocorrect mechanisms. They are coming, they're with the AI tools, they're becoming better, but they are still not good enough. Even now, they are not good enough. So, the idea here was to build a base dictionary through crowdsourcing and gamification. So we have this list of words. Now, whether given word is correct or wrong, and if it is wrong, then how to correct it, and then how to gamify it. So this is one example, and here is another example. So two students work. So this is Tarun.
I'm Tarun from Indian Institute of Technology, Bombay, and I'm presenting the poster titled Fixing Spellings of Colloquial Words Using a Crowd-Based Game. Colloquial slang and transliterated words in Hindi often lack standardized spellings and hence pose a challenge in spelling correction using existing language resources. We propose crowdsourcing as a possible solution to this problem. We designed a crowd-based mobile game that would rely on the knowledge of native Hindi speakers to determine acceptably correct spellings of colloquial words. The proposed game would have many features like single and two-player modes, quality control mechanics, player profiles, and discussion spaces. It aims to provide fun and appeal to altruistic motivations of players by visualizing their contributions to incentivize the process of giving correct spellings of words. The app is under development, and we hope to evaluate it as soon as that is done.
Yeah, so I don't know if Tarun has managed to develop this app or not, but if I think we are still looking for somebody to help us develop this. So for example, so there is so much other work that is possible. So if say anybody online or watching this afterwards is involved in something else and they're really not wanting to get into text input, but there are still so many other areas where you might be able to contribute if you're interested. Okay, how do I go to the next page? Yeah. I think this is my last project that I talked about. This is also a fairly new piece of work that we just published. So this is, in fact, sorry, this is not yet published. In fact, it will publish soon. It will get published soon. So this is work of Saloni Shetty. So, and this is really not about text input, but again, this is research into phrase sets. So it is based on actually another similar project that was done for English. And when I read that paper, I thought, oh, we should do this for Indian languages. So what we did was, so there is a very famous phrase set. Okay, so our phrase set is also famous, and seminal as Pooja says. So, but there is a even more famous or well-known phrase set called the Mackenzie corpus, which has a list of 500 phrases that they published in 2004, and many text input studies in English have used that phrase set. Okay. And then more recently, people started using audio-based transcription studies because now a lot more audio is happening on computers. So by that, what we mean is, typically what you do is you are shown a phrase and you are supposed to type it out. So that's a transcription study. Or audio transcription is you have played a phrase. Like a phrase is played, you listen to it, and then you type. And this study was by Joe Fish and his colleagues. So, very well-known, very seminal study, as she said, and done about 3 years ago, or 4 years ago maybe. And it was interesting. And I said, oh, but this is also a problem in Indian. In fact, our problem is worse. Like we heard, right? Natsre Mora and Raswa Dirgha errors and all sorts of issues. I mean, how do you, you are anticipating more problems. Okay. So what Joshi et al. Did was they did an online study, MTurk study. I don't know if you guys have heard of MTurk. No, what is MTurk? Amazon MTurk. Amazon MTurk is this, Amazon is one of the many different options available to hire online workers. So if you want some work to be done, okay, you design that interface and you say, okay, whatever. So like say, for example, if you want to tag pictures, like your capture kind of things that happen. Now capture you do for free, of course, but if you have to capture, do hundreds of such captures, then you save it for a paisa do. So that you can earn a little bit of money by doing such things. So rich people currently can put it out. Indian people cannot. We are not allowed to post on MTurk. MTurk, are you listening? So we can't post studies on MTurk, but rich Americans can post studies on MTurk. And poor Indians can actually go and participate in the studies. I wanted to post a study on MTurk, it says, oh, you can actually, there are so many studies already running, why don't you participate in the study instead of posting your own study? So, bloody racist thing. Anyway, so they post, they ask you to do some task, okay, and then they pay you some $1 per minute or whatever, some rate, I don't remember what the rates are, but they pay you some. So they did a study like that where they actually played sound file of, or not a sound, or audio, generated audio file. They generated text because there were so many, all these Alexa, Siri kind of mechanisms are there. So they generated some sounds based on this, not Enron, McKinsey corpus. They generated this 500 and then gave it to hundreds of people to type it out in English. And then they compare that and then they found, like for example, if the study, there is a sentence which says reading is difficult and the person types it as breathing is difficult. So obviously now, is it the problem of the typing mechanism that I am evaluating, or is it a problem of the way in which the speech, the people hear this particular thing played by automated speech? So that is the question. So they said that such sentences should not be used in studies because those are what was surprising is, I don't remember the numbers, but in their study they found almost 80% of the phrases in that McKinsey corpus cannot be used. They have this communication difficulty. Okay. So their paper is quite famous. And we said, okay, let us see what happens in Indian languages. So we did a study, and what we found, but of course, because of all the things that you have heard so far, text input is difficult. So we actually did a writing study. The person heard the phrase, okay, and then they wrote it down. Okay, so, and then she did a thorough analysis of that, and then we did even a workshop actually. And so the paper is really extensive, a very nicely written paper, Barcelona. And she found many different types of errors that people make. But surprisingly, only a small subset was having comprehension errors like this: reading is difficult, breathing is difficult kind of errors. Most of the errors were spelling errors, Raswadirga errors, Kanamitra errors, spacing errors. So we have this is just one page. We have like, I think 5-6 pages of whatever, and we have a very nice picture of the different types of errors that people make in transcribing in Marathi. Okay, so this is a completely different kind of a study that actually, now what is it useful for? I mean, think about it. There are so many text input mechanisms, so many voice recognition studies that we'll have to do in future. So this is just a corpus study, and then, so there is a very interesting.
So,
yeah.
So basically, job is study kind of so it's like demographic basis पे कौन सा demographic?
So there is some description of them, but they were all native Marathi speakers, pretty well versed with Marathi. There was no problem, and they were all reasonably educated and a very wide range of age, but reasonably educated. Young people, middle-aged people, old people. So the details are there in the paper. I forget now what the details are, but yeah. So we did, we thought a lot about some of these problems, and so what I didn't forgot to mention is that, well, we first just did an analysis of handwritten documents and identified the error, and Saloni spent a huge amount of time doing that. And then I questioned some of her errors. Is this error, that error, or are you interpreting or whatever, right? Kunatsa, those kind of errors, or whatever. I mean, those are, language variations that are there, and what is correct, what is wrong, and whatever we got. So then we organized a workshop with Marathi experts. Okay, people who are really very good in Marathi, much better than us. Both of us are English medium educated people. So we got really people who are very good in the language, and they also disagreed among themselves. So that was good to know. So, but anyway, so we captured, and it was a very rich experience. In fact, we captured a 4-hour video, them discussing the 300 phrases and their errors basically, and whatever. So we had a Zoom call just like this one, and then we captured that as a workshop. And we should do this in every language. I can't believe. Think about it. We're talking about ChatGPT and Gen AI and all these nonsense, and we don't have the basic technology of 1980s, the spell checker or autocorrect. So these all technologies were available in 1980s on computer, and we don't have them still. So we have a long way to go as far as language technology is concerned. So this is part of that, you can think of it that way. But also it's useful for text input study. Okay, lastly, I'm going to kind of very quickly, so all of this was Sikkai. So now that we are in the last 6 minutes of this webinar, I want to actually quickly mention why we organized this particular topic for this webinar today and this as part of the SM Sikkai meeting. So, as you might have heard, IDC I just found out IDC website is down. I don't know if it's up now. But IDC has started an MDes by research program, and the way it works is very unique, especially if any of you guys are students, or if you're a teacher, if you know BDes students, or people who have recently finished their undergraduate in design, or even MDes students can apply actually. So the way it works is we actually announce a set of topics. So this is a Google Doc, so it's still working. So we announce a set of topics, and so this is this year's topics, and these topics were announced for the 25-26 intake. So every year this list of topics will change. So like this year, one of the first topics is text input in Indian languages. So that is today's seminar. Next Saturday, we, by the way, plug another seminar on usable security for emergent users that more or less Vijayanand is going to run. That's he's planning that out. And we have some work there. He has some work there. Our lab has some work there. We'll share that, but we'll talk about that. And then there are many other interesting project topics. So I'm going to talk about only one of them. So each topic has about a couple of pages of description. So with respect to text input, you have seen a lot of that. I'm just going to focus on the brief that we are giving you. So there is not one brief here. We're giving you multiple briefs. These are all the different things that you might be able to do as part of this MDes by research topic. Pooja, as you know, is already working on something. So she's working on this prediction and the effect of that on typing speeds and cognitive loads and things like that. As part of his PhD, Rupesh is working on just the layout of the keyboards and what kind of effects it has on and the mechanisms, space-saving mechanisms, and what kind of effect it has on typing speeds. But here are some. You can design a new keyboard or modify an existing Indian language keyboard. Could be physical keyboard, could be virtual keyboard. You saw examples, Abhiram's work or Harshavardhan's work. So that kind of work, you can do that. I don't still see a good probabilistically modeled keyboard. Maybe the next step in Rupesh's work could be doing that. If flat keyboards work out better than layered keyboard, maybe that is the way to go. Or you may want to design your own new keyboard. Anadi was there a while ago. He wants to design a new keyboard for the Kuruk language. Or you might want to completely come up with all of these guys have bad ideas. I want to come up with my own idea. That's all fine. That's all okay. You might want to design a dedicated hardware device. We saw one example of that. Creating editing tools for Indian languages. That could be another one. Ideas could be spell checkers, lightning compose style text predictors, voice input systems. We don't have really good we have voice input mechanisms, but they work in search or they work in YouTube search or somewhere else. Basically, they don't work in so nicely in, say, Google Docs, or they don't work in. So maybe we can make those kind of things. So there is a huge amount of work that still needs to be. If all MDes by research students next year were working on text input devices, we will still not finish this work or whatever. So there's a lot of work. Or maybe you are a PhD student looking for opportunities. Again, there is a lot of work opportunity over here. Many of the papers that we talked about are linked over here in this document. You can take a look at, and some more. I didn't mention all papers. We also have a lot of unpublished work. There is other, with links. So you can see this one-handed text input. This is work of Prashant Sachan. He was a PhD. He was an MDes student with us a while ago. His words. Yeah. So he came up with a piano-style keyboard for typing. Okay. So which is again one-handed, single-handed. I'm just trying to scroll to the particular page. So yeah, these are existing ones and studies. Yeah, I'm just trying to reach the. Yeah, so this is his experimentation, and then I think there's a picture of a prototype somewhere. So you can again use multiple. So he actually hacked a key piano and actually made it. It worked. So this is his keyboard, but this is his mapping actually. So K is only the first key and whatever. I mean, so you are kind of using multiple keys at the same time to type these things. So he had some logic on that. And he again explored this also quite a bit. Okay, so that's just an example. There are many such other examples. That Tapatap gamified gaming keyboard, whatever. This is Prasad Gone's work. Pooja mentioned that briefly. Vivek Paul's work, Tarun's work. Rohit made a gesture-based Malayalam typing mechanism. Amrita, who was in the call a few minutes ago, talked about this. Saloni's work that is coming up on Indian language phrase. So this is the Marathi one is coming, has coming out as a paper soon. Abhiram's work on Malayalam text input, Harshavardhan's work. So these are some of it is published, some of it is on YouTube, some of it is published as papers. So it is available. A lot of links are available. If you can't find any paper, please write to me. I can help you share my own copy. Okay. So with that, I want to stop. I don't think I have anything else. Yeah, just any questions. If people may have, I promise that I will give you the slides. So this is the picture that you can take. So the slides are available at tinyurl.com, indtxt25. So you can get all the slides there. And of course, we are looking for collaborators. So you're welcome to take a picture of my email ID if you want it also. Please reach out to me. And I am very slow on emails, but I do answer them. Especially if I find something on TechSimple. So thank you very much. Are there any questions or if people have taken a picture, I can stop sharing and we can.
Sir, in tech.
Harshavardhan is there. Kya baat hai? I'm sure you know. Hi, Harshavardhan. I think it's the same Harshavardhan.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
In tech topics, just slide थी वो share हो सकती है.
कौन सी topics?
In tech topics का आपने बताया.
So it is already online. IDC website is down right now, but if you go to IDC website and look for MDes by research, we have already announced the MDes by research topics for next year's intake. The idea is, okay, so since you asked now, I'm going to kind of elaborate a little bit on that. The idea is that we publicize these topics, you go and read up about them, and then only if you like any topic, then only you apply for MDes by research. Okay, because I mean, ये सब मेहनत हम क्यों कर रहे हैं? So that you come prepared, basically, right? So that is the idea behind this. So we today only talked about text input in Indian languages, but there are 12 such topics out there, and each of these topics may have many topics inside them. Okay, so even if 2 people want to work on text input, we can have that 5, whatever, any number, right?
There are 12 topics. So
yeah, so we only take 10 students every year because that's the capacity. Okay, so what you do is you pick a topic, prepare for it, come up with your own ideas. We ask you to come up with a research proposal based on what you have written out there and the brief that we have given, but you are supposed to write a proposal and come to us. And then there is a short exam. We ask you questions.
Okay, but the thing is कि मैंने 2 months पहले पढ़ा था सीड के थ्रू होता है.
हाँ, सीड तो just qualifying exam है. तो सीड देना ही पड़ेगा. You give the seed, then after you have given seed, in IDC all MDes interview, you do interviews and written tests and exam and so on, right? So when people come here, we ask you questions about one of those topics. Okay, whichever you have a choice, you can do whichever topic you want. Okay, and then you have to clear seed, like for all MDes admissions, you have to clear seed. And then you come for this topic, and then you give an interview and so on. So there's a test, and so the details of that are there on the IDC website. You can go and see them, which is down right now. Let me try.
It is
up now. Okay, I'll try to show that then. Okay, so share my screen one more time. Sorry. Right, so that is IDC website, and you can actually search for it. Okay, so this you can go in any of these, but I'm going to go through just the main one, which says topics for 2025 intake announced. So if you go here, then the link you will find over here from here. It is there. It is also linked from my slides, by the way, for today. And this is our today's webinar. Now I'll also add the YouTube video. I'll ask Vivin to add the YouTube video here. And the next week we are having usable security, and as more topics, those faculty members want to organize their own webinars, we will add that. We will also add, we'll have a generic webinar sometime in March, which will have generic Q&A about all this information, admission process, AO, those kind of questions that we might have. So that will be next time. But today we were talking only about text.
So I have a last question.
No problem. Ask. I have many questions.
So basically, जो स्वरा चक्र था वो एक प्रोजेक्ट था, काफी इंटरेस्टिंग लगा मुझे कि इंक्लूसिव डिजाइन एंड एक्सेसिबल डिजाइन काफी कंट्रीब्यूट कर रहा है. तो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल हमने जो ग्राफ दिखाया था कि प्ले स्टोर में गूगल का कीबोर्ड खुद का आया, तब स्वरा चक्र का काइंड ऑफ आपने बताया. तो आई वांट टू आस्क कि आपने गूगल या फिर आपको ओएस के साथ ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम के साथ तुमने कोलैब किया या फिर क्यों नहीं किया इस टाइप?
Why did we not collaborate?
Because they also want someone कि उनको भी अच्छे प्रोजेक्ट्स और वो.
So we tried to do that. I mean, we are open for Google and Microsoft and anybody else who's listening. We are open for collaboration. If you want to fund us or we want to work with us, we are happy to. Even if you don't want to fund us, we are happy to work with you. We are welcome. We have worked with a few people. We did a little bit of project with Microsoft Research. Or no, Microsoft Research did a little bit of small project on using Swarachakra as the thing. We did some work with Swansea University where they helped us split Swarachakra into two devices. So if there are two phones, then I can pair over Bluetooth and then I can type over here and I can see the whole chat over there basically. So increasing real estate of the screen basically. So such projects we have done collaboratively, but we are mainly researchers, We are not into commercial software building and whatever.
Exactly. But the thing is कि suppose हमने कुछ crazy चीज बनाई है जो society को काफी अच्छे से impact कर रही है. So it's really good.
Correct. So earlier we didn't even have a website, so now I have a website. So if you want to say like Kannada is not there online anymore, so you want to download the Kannada APK, you can go here and it will take you to the Swarachakra and then you can download and install it on your device basically. So if you go to, this is what you should do. You should search my name and then you'll find IDC School of Design, my name, you go there and you'll find the list of Swarachakra apps basically. So because Google has been needlessly knocking it off Play Store, only I think 3-4 languages are there on Play Store. But I'm not blaming Google completely over there. I mean, of course, after 10 years, some terms and conditions will change. We have not been compliant and we really don't have, I'm not a programmer, Android programmer anyway. And, but if any of you are, or anybody who watches this and would like to actually help us maintain this, just maintain it. I mean, it's just, usually you have to tick one checkbox or something like that, or change some text somewhere or something like that to be able to be compliant with these policies, then please help us. If you're from Google, you can help us do that. That will be even nice. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so if there are no more questions, more or less 7 minutes over. We started 10 minutes late, so 7 minutes over. We can stop. So thank you very much for joining us
Hi,
today.
sir. Hi, sir.
Hi, Ankit. Bolo.
Hi, I had a question that about the MDes program, MDes by research program. Is it related to PhD or is it something different course?
Okay, good question. We will have a special session to answer all these questions. So okay, so if you think about the BDes program here and the MDes program here, the PhD program here, so this is position between MDes and PhD program. So I'll quickly mention, maybe I'll again share my screen so that it's easy. So, typically if you see a MDes program, MDes by research course grades, yeah. So if you see, this is the course structure. Let me try to make this smaller. More. So if you see this course structure, we have very few courses. Or typically, if you, you just compare it with say our interaction design program. So interaction design program, this is the full first semester, second semester, third semester. maybe we have some courses, and then people start on projects, right? And there are some electives and so on, and then people start on projects, okay? And then, however, for MDes by research, which I'll try to dig up again, we have about 36 credits worth of courses. Now, that is, to translate that, it is equivalent to about one semester in 2 years. So 25% of your time you spend on courses, 75% of your time you spend on doing projects or doing research and things like that. But you are asked to do only 25% of it. In a typical MDes project, you would do about 60 to 65% of your time you spend on courses and only 35 to 40% time on projects. So it's a change of process over there in that sense. So, and this is what should happen normally in master's projects. So for historical reasons then, in India, and in fact all around the world, design masters are really not masters. They usually have a very strong bachelor's year. The first year is equivalent to a bachelor's. And then in the second year, you start doing a little bit of master's thing. But this was meaningful when we did not have so many design schools. But now that we have so many design schools, there are many more people who have done most of those UG courses. Of course, when you go to a new college, there will always be some exciting thing to learn in that new university or that is unique to that place. But by and large, everybody doesn't have to do so much undergraduate equivalent coursework that we think should mainly be learned while you are working. Because if once you get deep into a particular topic, there is a lot to learn there. And that is where most of the learning needs to happen at master's level. At undergraduate level, of course, you should get exposed to many topics and so on. But that we are already now having many BDes programs in the country, including our own and most other universities are very good BDes programs. So therefore, this is the difference. I hope I answered your question. Okay.
Yeah, that was clear, but I had another question. Like, if I want to pursue PhD from IDC, then what is the admission procedure for PhD?
So PhD also is another program. There is another so it is also again on our website. I can share that. Now that our site is up. So there is a PhD course, PhD admission process or something. There is I think this is the page, the picture. Yeah. So that there is a nice flowchart bana ke sab mast dikhaya hai how to go about the PhD application process and what happens and so on. Right. So the only thing I'll say in connection with MDes by research here is that, well, this is not yet official, so this will stay on YouTube. So if it ever gets rejected, I don't know. But we are actually working on the proposal to convert our MDes by research students or give a choice to our MDes by research students to switch over to PhD. So, and the justification for that, at least in my mind, is that many designers are not sure if they want to do a PhD. Okay. But maybe they are okay to do an MDes by research. Because it's only 2 years, right? Whereas PhD is 5, 6 years or even longer in some cases. So they're not sure whether they want to do, whether they will enjoy research, whether they are good at it, and so on. So what we are saying is, before you get into PhD, look at these topics, pick one topic, and then do MDes by research. Now, that will train you to do research. You will become good researchers, hopefully, at the end of it. And if you like your topic, then write a proposal to make a PhD and we will convert your MDes by research into PhD. ऐसा propose करने वाले हैं, अभी तक कुछ नहीं है, okay? So, but hopefully it should go through. MS by research does something similar. So hopefully ours also should go through. And then people get a choice to switch. So if you have, so basically when do you switch? When your topic is roughly similar, but now you are going to take a much bigger problem. Then you go from MDes by research to PhD. But if you have a completely different topic, then it is better to apply as a new PhD. So finish your MDes by research, close it off, and then apply. So both choices are there. In fact, the second choice is already there. The first choice, we're going to make a proposal now and make it available to our MDes by research students. So it is called a dual degree program. So we will start that up. Hopefully, in another 6 months.
So, sir, do I have to clear JRF for taking admission in PhD?
So you have to, what is your background, Ankit?
MFA.
Sorry?
MFA, Master of Fine Arts.
MFA. MFA can just directly apply. I mean, so that's what, all of that complication is already explained over here. So if you are a grad, since you have a postgrad already, I think you can already, there is a eligibility somewhere. You can,
Yeah, that was written. I have to clear seed. It was written, but there was no description about JRF, so I was doubtful about that.
No, you should see this. So MDes, MTech, MPhil, MFA, MArch, MURP, MA Design, postgraduate diploma, blah, 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 blah. 60% marks are specified for general category. Any other masters with first class as specified. And then if you have a BDes, and then if you are in 2 or 3, like if you have any of these, then you need to also do seed or grade. Seed basically. Sorry?
Are you intending
Okay,
to?
thank you, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes. Yeah. Oh, I didn't share my screen. Okay, so there is eligibility criteria written over here. So please take a look. If you are MDes, MTech, or whatever, then you are eligible for getting the RA ship. If you are having any other master's degree, or if you are having BDes, BTech, blah blah blah, then you have to do CA. That is what it says basically, effectively. Okay, but this is not legal. What is written there is legal. What I am saying is this for your information. Okay, thank you very much.
Do you have time for question?
Yeah, I can talk.
So is there any indication on whether or not this, is there any cultural tendency to prefer English? Yeah, because the first example you showed was movies, right? Where people are using more and more English fonts, even in Hindi titles. So is there a tendency of not using Hindi? And is this also related to certain words not having a good, for example, setting, the word setting, not having a good translation?
Localization is another big topic. Next year, I'm planning to do a intensive research project topic on localization. Yes, so there are a lot of issues there, but I don't think that there is something inherent in this. Okay, it's just the current cultural, social, and technological context that we live in, and we are a product of the history, right? Of all these things. I mean, we use phones now. How long? Do you remember when you bought your smartphone for the first time? So we used for so many years after that, right? 8 years, 5 years, whatever time that you have used it for. And you have so much practice. This you say, हाँ नहीं 5 मिनट में आना चाहिए. ऐसे थोड़ी होगा. You take time, and it may not be the best design, so you have to improve the design and so on. So that is the thing. So we'll have to create the context in which it becomes easy for people to do this. So if you see the social and business context is that all the educated people tend to be rich. All the rich people tend to use English. And so people think, हाँ तो क्यों चाहिए बाकी सारा languages में क्यों चाहिए? Why do you need localization? Why do you need Indian language keyboards? Why do you need all these other things, right? So that is how people think. But there are other smarter people who say that, oh, this is a bigger business opportunity because right now I am only targeting 20% of the population or 15% of the population. I want to target 75% of the population, 80% of the population. Then I need to be able to develop these technologies, develop these designs. A lot of it is designs actually, not so much technologies. Technologies have been around for 30 years, 40 years, going probably. It is the designs that we need to work on. That is why this is a design research project, not a technology research project. Okay? Okay.
I just have to say, on next Saturday, that is 11th of January, we have another webinar scheduled for usable security. Do attend if you are interested in that topic also, online and offline. So thank you for joining me.
Thank you for joining. Yeah, most welcome. Thank you for joining, everyone. Thank you, Krishna, for organizing. Look forward to the next one. Vijayanand will be there. Again, yeah, that's an exciting, usable security is an exciting topic. So hopefully you guys are all there. We'll see. So see you guys. Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Share me the reference number.
If you are interested in memory